All right, I am calling them now. Oh,
Hello.
hey, what's up?
Oh, not much. I get to be cozy in bed for this stream, but at the cost of my sound quality. That's not a
Um,
choice.
yeah, didn't you? So for those that aren't aware, do you mind telling chat what happened with your internet?
So I'm moving at the moment. I'm moving to a new apartment because my landlord is selling the one I live in now, and so I call up my internet service provider and tell them I want to contract cancel my contract in a month, and they say, "Yo, yeah, sure, a month. We'll give you 30 more days. That'll last until November 14th." I'm like, fantastic. It goes out the next day, and I call them back saying, "Hey," and they go, "Oh, you can't get it back unless you start a new contract." And I'm like, "Oh, fantastic."
Hey, there is a
Side effects aren't good
solution.
yet.
There's a solution that we lefties have in regards to landlords that would fix this problem, but I'm sure you know what that is.
Oh, hey, you know what? I'm happy to make the move. I'm moving into a place I much prefer.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it lines up, but yeah, I actually had a horrible landlord experience while I was looking to move out to California. Me and my girlfriend, and who was going to be our roommate, but that didn't really pan out, ended up finding this really nice, I think, three-bedroom house in Palm Springs that we were gonna move into, and it was really nice. And then the landlord tried to charge us an illegal amount of money. I think they tried to charge us 2 months rent and deposit up front, or I think it was like 3 months rent deposit. I can't remember exactly. And it's actually illegal to do that in California. So like my girlfriend, just sort of like, politely brought up like, hey, this is 4 times the rent. Yeah, they wanted 4 times the rent up front, which was around $6,000. Which
Shit.
we could have probably made work, but goddamn, would that be a big hit to my savings? Um, and we were like, "Hey, that is not good. Like, we can't pay that. That's illegal." And then he got really mad and just fucking ghosted us, and we had to find a different place. But honestly, I like this apartment a lot. So in a way, it was way better. It was $6,400 we wanted up front. Yeah, landlords can be shitters.
I mean, you know that feel when you ghost someone because they demand you follow the law
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
service you're providing.
I don't know who is gonna. I hope that guy never ends up getting a tenant, because he seems like the kind of landlord that sneaks into your house while you're away and then like jacks off on your stuff, you know?
Uh,
And I'm not
I
making
can't
that
say
up,
I've
by the
experienced
way.
someone like that, but
I'm not
hang on,
making.
hang on. What do you mean you're not making that up?
I'm not
What
making that up.
happened?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I lived in a place in Florida called Tampa, and me and my mom lived in a nice house that had this really shitty landlord that lived a few blocks away, and obviously, he had a key to the house. And when my mom would like take me out to get food or to go to school or anything like that, the landlord would bust in, and we just find, or he just like come in with the key, would find stuff moved around, things didn't exactly look right. And one day, and I didn't find this out until I was older, my mom found evidence that the landlord was coming in and just jacking it on shit.
Oh, like
Yeah.
what do you say to that? I mean, I guess that's time for a move, right?
Yeah, he also sold shit to buy, and like he also like stole our shit and sold it to buy drugs and stuff like that. He was an awful landlord. And like one day, oh, it was so weird. We had like these shrubs in front of the window that were really nice. And this was when I was like 8, by the way. This is a long time ago. Um we had these nice shrubs in front of the window that helped keep sun out of the living room and keep it cooler in the house. And we were very explicit that we liked these. I guess our landlord like had a bit too much meth that day, because he just came over and needed something to do, because that's what meth does, and just fucking cut down all of the shrubs and all of the bushes and everything in our yard. It was awful. He was a terrible landlord.
Honestly, like with all that, I'd probably only give him like 2 stars.
Yeah, that's a 2-star job right there. Hey, listen, he might have. I imagine there's worse landlords out there, but that was pretty bad. Um, but
I mean,
yeah,
I feel like at the point you get a worse landlord, like they're endangering your safety.
Yeah. I
They're
like
they're abusing you or something. Like, well, I guess more significantly,
yeah,
I think coming on your stuff counts as abuse.
well the next step up is them coming on you while you're sleeping.
Oh
Yeah, they just come in, you're just laying in bed and you wake up and you're all like your neck is all sticky. You're like, "What the fuck? Is that sweat? Oh god." That thankfully that never happened as far as I'm aware, but
shit,
oh,
that's what's been causing this.
oh no. Oh. Hopefully getting out of there then. Um yeah,
Yeah,
or
I'm getting out
yeah.
tomorrow.
Well, hey, so you're moving to a better place, I assume?
Yeah, yeah, I'm going to a better place.
Yeah, you're going to a better place. Going to the butterfly farm upstate. Oh yeah. The whole landlord conversation is one that could go on for a while, and my chat would love that because they all hate landlords. But you're in the UK, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
I'm in Scotland, Aberdeen, the northernmost like thing you could call a city.
Is Scotland better or worse with the turf infestation that the UK has?
Oh, way better.
Way better? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, way better.
It seems like London is kind of like the hive, the turf hive.
I I mean, like it's Tufts definitely have a hive somewhere. Like that's what their lair is called. Um, London is London is pretty progressive in terms of English cities, as far as I'm aware. Although it's also like probably the most politically diverse based on my very limited impression.
Hmm.
So there could also be a lot of turfs there as well.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
It just seems like that entire island area is just like infested with them. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something in the water. I don't know if it's like there's just like a weird. I guess so. This is the weird thing, and I want to get into this in a minute because it's really interesting. Um, really quickly though, someone in chat was asking what your pronouns are.
Any slash all at the moment. I am accepting of everything currently.
Nice.
For
Um,
now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna default to they them because I like kind of I don't think a lot of people have that like normalized in their vocabulary, and it's never fun when you accidentally fuck up with they them pronouns because somebody that you're referring to or talking to is maybe on the more femme or masculine side. It always feels bad, like so I just like to get used to it. Um, but yeah, something that I noticed is that it seems like in the UK there's this really strange issue where there's like a sort of like pseudo liberal feminism, anti men kind of thing going on. Like I know like this is where um like Sargon of Akkad kind of comes from, and in a part he's right about this, though he attributes the problem to being just feminism instead of like liberal kind of like empty pop feminism, like the family courts being very much skewed in favor of women no matter what the situation is, a lot of the media kind of like making a joke out of like men dying or getting hurt or men being predators and whatnot. And it seems like man hate directly leads to turfism, because if you hate men then you start to like essentialize men to being just their
Oh, I mean,
genitals, and then
fucking yeah, like
yeah,
so many turf arguments you see are just fucking coated in misandry, which
yeah,
is a word I'm only recently started using unironically because of
yeah,
turfs.
it's
Um,
yeah,
I never really
unironically,
I never really see the man hate here though. Maybe it's just I'm desensitized to it, but I mean I didn't grow up in England or in the UK at all, but I came back here for university. I was born here, left as a young kid, and came back. But
oh, where did he
hmm?
come from originally before you?
So I was born in England, moved to Germany, and then came here for university, and then stayed when I dropped out.
Nice, yeah. I had the opportunity to probably go to a pretty good well, university is like high school in America, right?
Hang on, what do you mean?
Oh, okay. So I keep mixing it up. So like in America you have elementary school, which is like I believe it's called primary school. Then you have middle school, and that's secondary school. Then you have or secondary school, right? Okay, I assume it's college. Then people are saying it's college. I listen. I'm a
Oh, yeah.
American. All right, I'm very ignorant to the outside world and the verbiage for those things. But yeah, I could have gone to college, but I decided not to. And instead, I pursued a career as a political YouTuber, and before that, a lifeguard. And somehow, it actually worked out. I am still amazed to this day that I'm not currently living in a ditch.
Oh, hey, like I dropped out to pursue YouTube when I was at like 15K subs, and that worked out somehow.
Yeah, God, I wonder if I look back, I can probably see like which video I first started watching you that I saw when I first started watching you. I think it would have been it probably would have been your I remember it would have had to been after the Adventure Time series finale because I remember you had the you had Marceline and PB sitting on the couch being lesbians together and you're on your screensaver. So it would have been after what was it like November of 2018 around then. So
That's like most of the things.
oh sorry you cut out.
That's just like most of the things I've done since November 2018.
Yeah, has it always been there? Because I was like it's something like for me, like being like a political commentary kind of guy, is when I watch mostly apolitical content, I'm always like wondering. I wonder where this YouTuber that doesn't really talk about politics is politically, you know? And then sometimes you'll start to pick up on little mannerisms that'll make you think, huh, maybe this person's like maybe on the reactionary side or more on the progressive side. But after seeing the profile picture, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure JXC is fairly progressive if they've got like a lesbian couple from a cartoon sitting on the couch, like all wholesomely as their screensaver. I'm pretty sure you're on the progressive side, so I remember seeing that and thinking that vividly.
Oh yeah, as like a teen who didn't quite understand what was going on in my own head, I fucking vicariously latched on to that cartoon relationship and wouldn't let go. Um, and then like it never got confirmed because, gay relationships on Cartoon Network being a thing wasn't normalized. I don't think it really is still, but where they do it in the final episode so they can't get the show canceled for it. But
Yeah,
yeah, like several years after I'm sort of past that, the conclusion to that where they actually get together is like, oh, cool. That's like my arc has ended. Nice.
yeah, that is actually pretty funny. I'm not in any way LGBT. I'm the cissest straightest dude you can imagine. But it definitely was nice seeing like some gay representation in the show, even if it was one of those like ooh oh like are they and I feel like even young me was able to tell like, yeah they're definitely gay. Like it was so obvious from the beginning, but they couldn't do it because I think a lot of the countries where the show airs, it's illegal to portray like gay relationships, or at least like extremely
Oh
taboo.
yeah.
So they just couldn't like outright say it, but they could get about as close as possible.
And then somehow Steven Universe survived on the same network, like not long after, with explicit like gay weddings and gay relationships in it.
Wasn't the justification that they aren't human or they don't actually have like any biological sex or whatever? I don't remember what the justification was that managed to get them to like loophole through it and not end up getting in trouble with those countries. I think it was something along those lines. Like they were
I
like,
mean,
well,
shit,
actually,
if that's all it takes to get past Russia, like, damn.
oh, in some countries, Ruby is canonically a boy. That's how they
Oh,
did
that's
it.
how they did it. But Ruby is the one that wears a dress at the gay wedding.
Listen, it's hey, there's actually in a lot of countries where it's illegal to be gay, it's actually legal to be trans. And if you're like a gay dude, they'll force you to transition or die because they're okay with trans people, but they're not okay with gay people. So, that's I guess that's why I suppose. Maybe. which is like that's like a trans rights question mark moment. Like, okay, I mean you're close, I guess. Not how we'd like to see it, but let's talk about the not killing gay people thing.
I mean, that sounds like the kind of fucking ironic ideology you'd hear about on fucking Dreg. Like, that's up there
Yeah.
with anarcho-monarchism.
Yeah, that is actually it does sound like a J-Reg skit. Some people say Dreg, some people say Greg. I've always just said J-Reg. I
Oh,
honestly.
he deliberately pronounces his name a different time every time he introduces himself. A different way, sorry.
Okay, in that case, it is completely open ended, and I'm going to continue saying J-Reg because that's always how I've always pronounced it. Um, yeah, no, that's really almost parody like, but it's true. I don't know if like trans people in those countries are treated particularly well, but at the very least, it's like frowned upon much less than just being gay is, being cis and gay. Uh, so
And that sounds so weird to me. Like the notion that you can go somewhere and you're like, you can be trans, just don't be gay. Like that is such a foreign concept. Like I've never seen that as an ideology manifest.
I feel like if you wanted to see that like outside of these countries, Twitter would be the place to go. And I am like essentializing it a lot. It's probably way more complicated than that. But like it, I feel like Twitter probably has a community like that, like a trans community that's like really homophobic. I feel like there's something like that out there.
I mean, Twitter is the fucking ideological like safari park. You
Yeah.
just go and observe fucking anything you want. I got called a fucking racist the other day by an ANCAP for saying that I believe 50 Cent should be highly taxed
Wait,
because he's
it's
rich and
racist to
making over
think that
400K
rich.
a year. Yeah, it's racist to think that well, no, he said I was racist or a hypocrite because I believe that people of color are likely discriminated against in workplaces in the US, and that all rich people, including 50 Cent, who is black, should be taxed heavily.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the question is, do you think that person was being purposefully facetious and like and was just like fucking with you
Yes.
and trying to play the Ben Shapiro like, haha, you say you're against racism, but you a rich black person, you want them to be taxed more. That sounds pretty racist to me. Or do
Yeah,
you
no,
think they're
that's
like
exactly what they
genuinely
were
that
doing,
dumb?
but they still made the argument.
Okay, so they were just being
They were
like
trying,
disingenuous.
like, they were explicitly trying to, like, at least as far as I could tell, they were trying to find holes in my character rather than my argument.
Yeah.
Like, they asked me, like, they specifically asked me, oh, do you think black people are discriminated against in workplaces? I'm like, yeah. And like I was really struggling to see how that was relevant to any point that had been raised in the discussion. And then they go, "So you're a hypocrite if you want to tax 50%." I'm like, "Wait, are you asking me that just so you could find a view that you thought would be like internally inconsistent, so you could accuse me of hypocrisy rather than actually talking about the thing we're talking about?" This really annoyed me. It's stuck in my mind.
You know, there's a saying by a wise bearded man who has a man bun, uh, uh, whose name is Vosh, who once said that most people online don't actually make arguments against your opinions. They vaguely gesture at imagined hypocrisy, um, which is basically what happened to you. We call it Alden's theorem, if you've ever heard of it.
And yeah, that is that's definitely something I've experienced. Like I have a no arguing on Twitter rule, and I normally only ever get like coaxed out of it by fucking ANCAPs.
Oh yeah, the end caps. You know the kind of ant caps that I keep on running into? The fucking lolicons. I don't even argue with these people about politics really. It's mostly just like the whether or not lolly porn is child porn, which it is. Um and it's always an and cap. And I know that's like the meme, that's like the stereotype, but it's always they're always and caps every time. They're always and caps.
should be able to buy these children.
Hey, if there's a market for it, why not? That's what they say. Um, yeah, ANCAPs are a particularly frustrating group, but I feel like this is the thing about libertarians. I feel like most of them are 15 years old, like 15-year-old white boys.
I
Um,
totally get that vibe. Yeah.
I think most 15-year-old straight white boys are ANCAPs, and they are basically on like teetering on the edge of becoming Nazis or like full-on socialists or communists, maybe even tankies. You know, they're always like nobody stays an ANCAP past the age of 15. They always end up going one way or the other, and it seems like right now there's a pretty effective apparatus online through like the YouTube algorithm collaborations and just sort of an overall community to send ANCAPs from being like sort of, you know, maybe a little yikesy on their political views in regards to social stuff to eventually like 6 months later being full on Nazis, you know?
I mean, that's what they call the pipeline.
Yeah, yeah. How
I'm.
familiar?
I.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean
So
to
go on.
cut you off. Oh,
I was gonna say, like, I was nearly in the ANCAP boat at like, that exact age. Um, except it wasn't fucking like it's gonna sound dumb. I wasn't an economic ANCAP. I was an ANCAP like ideologically in every possible way, like everything that you could imagine that sort of sounds like it would go with being an ANCAP. I was, except a pedophile. Um, but I was still pretty economically left at that age. But it was like I legit believed that bullying would make the strong survive. Like I was fucking yikes.
yeah, I feel like the biggest issue when it comes to the ideology of ANCAPs, and I know this because I wasn't an ANCAP, but I called myself a libertarian when I was younger, sort of going down the pipeline myself, is I believed we lived for the most part in a meritocracy. Like there are no laws or explicit rules in the law books that say if you are this identity, then you get less rights, or you are lesser than insert other identity, usually like straight white people and men and whatnot. So I believed, okay, legally, it is a meritocracy. If you don't make it, it is all your fault. You have all the things at your fingertips to be able to make it. And it wasn't until I sort of like actually engaged with the ideas where I was like, oh, it's not that simple. You know, black people aren't like most black people in America aren't poor because they make bad decisions. It's because the socioeconomic environment they exist in is not conducive to them being successful or even having the equal opportunity to be successful. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that, and that is like the biggest. Yeah, the myth of meritocracy is probably the biggest problem I think with a lot of people in not just America, but just in like the world in general.
I mean, absolutely. I waited to be successful until I gave up my cis white man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's
Like
successful to survive.
yeah. I actually have a question for you. Where would you say you are? Like, I know political spectrums are dumb, but where would you like kind of pin yourself down if you had to on a political spectrum?
Do you want to see my nine axes?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, hang on. How do I open chat while I'm in a call? There it is. Here it is.
Let's see. We're checking it out. Let's see this. Federal, unitary, neutral. Okay, it's pretty neutral. Moderate democratic, authority democracy. It's pretty good. You're more on the democracy side. Very globalist. That's good. Isolationism is cringe. Very low military. That's pretty good. Do you believe in stuff like if you're like a powerful country and you like, for example, do you disagree with Donald Trump pulling us out of Syria and leaving the Kurds to be fucking genocided by the by the Turks?
That's a big question, eh?
Um,
Um, I don't like. Oh, like there's so many factors that go into just like intervention in any instance. Um, like there's that fucking voice in my head that's like, yeah, we could take on North Korea, we could fucking liberate North Korea, but I don't know. Like I legit don't know if that's not something I want to even have a perspective on because I'm a coward.
Yeah. So I'll just give my take, and I can sort of try to defend my opinion on this and see if you agree. My take is that I am generally against interventionism and all sorts of imperialism and whatnot. But I think there are cases where there's sort of a responsibility to more powerful countries to stand up to human rights violations in the world when those who are having the human rights violations done upon them are not capable of defending themselves, right? The example I brought up, if
Right.
you're not aware, is basically the Turks are doing a genocide on a group called the Kurds in Syria, and the Kurds are super based. They even actually helped America fight ISIS quite a bit, and on top of that, they're also like really progressive and all that, and they're pretty cool. Um, yeah. As for North Korea, I think we probably are not in a state where we can do anything about that. I feel like it's a problem where I feel like the way that people are going about it is trying to basically beat North Korea through a war of attrition, which doesn't seem like it's going to work as technology advances, and they seem to have their own allies that'll help them out, like China and whatnot. I don't know. It's really complicated because if we just waged war on them, that could be like a world-ending scenario. It's a really complicated situation.
Oh yeah. I mean, I almost feel like global law is just the solution to that. Don't violate global law, or the other countries will have your ass.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I'm not really a big fan of countries and like governments and whatnot. I'm big on freedom, like complete freedom from the state. But in our current, if we're being completely pragmatic and we're talking about like now what we can do now to make things better, I do think that forming like a strong multinational group that establishes world law to basically protect certain human rights violations and going hard against anybody who breaks those laws is probably a good way to deal with it. Because
yeah,
like
pretty much.
the war of attrition method just means that more people in North Korea end up starving to death and living in destitution. It's not the perfect solution by any means. Um, Extreme equality when it comes to economics, low on markets, extreme secular, good, nice, nice, extreme progressive, and moderate multiculturalist. Yeah, that seems pretty like you're pretty much on the pretty damn progressive side. I would probably put you like a. Would you agree that you're like a sock dem? That's probably where I would put you.
Um, I don't know. Like, I don't. The reason I was like, "Do you want to see my nine axes?" is because there are. I used to understand the political labels. Then new ones arrived, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll learn these pretty quick." And I learned them. I learned the difference between a liberal and a leftist as soon as it was pointed out to me. They weren't the same thing. I was like, "Oh, that's news to me now." So I learned it. And I thought, oh, I'm pretty much on top of this. And like in the last month or so, I've heard labels used in whatever fucking way, and I don't care anymore about these words. That's my stance on that. So sure, I guess like if that's the word that you think best fits these fucking axes.
Yeah, I absolutely know what you're talking about with the people just fucking throwing around political labels. I get called a liberal about a million times a day because I think people should vote for Biden over Trump, which I do want to get your take on in a little bit. Um, but yeah, it is nuts. I don't blame you for not really caring that much about the label itself. I honestly think broadly, just left versus right is the best way to go. Just keep it really simple and don't give a fuck what anybody else says, because there are people who know nothing about you and have just heard you say one thing that'll ascribe you to an entire different political belief than you actually are a part of, just based on what they've heard, and it's meant to confuse you and
Oh yeah,
almost unintentionally gaslight you, and manipulate you into thinking you're actually something else. It's really really weird. Yeah, I would personally say you seem like you're probably like a sock dem. You seem to be, still a capitalist, but in favor of a lot of different like social safety nets, welfare, things like that, meant to keep those that are less fortunate in society a bit more over above water. Uh,
Pretty
so
much.
yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty much in favor of trying legitimately most methods of redistribution of wealth. Like, I mean, it's necessary going forward. More jobs are being automated. So there's going to be a point where it's not going to be possible to create enough jobs to keep unemployment at an acceptable level because the
Mm.
fucking Boston Dynamics robots are going to be like serving you bar and driving cars. You know, the just jobs are going to get destroyed systematically over the next 20, 30 years. Um, and we need a system to redistribute income before that happens. And I'm personally in favor of UBI, but like not in any way married to it.
Yeah, UBI is like it's a band-aid solution. It's one that could absolutely work in the meantime. If we had UBI today, like a universal UBI, like I don't know, like 2,000 a month in America at least, could get you pretty far. But it's more, I think, of a band-aid solution for like when we're still living under capitalism. Personally, I'm a big fan. I'm a libertarian socialist. I'm a big fan of like I'm not sure like how aware you are of this kind of thing, but more or less like the idea of the workers owning the means of production and um, workplace democracy, decisions being made democratically, the workers making the decisions and getting being reimbursed properly for their labor value. That's what I'm in favor of, and I feel like even under socialism, even if we did see massively rapid increases in um, automation. Under socialism, you aren't required to work a job that doesn't need to be worked necessarily. So if we did end up having 90% of jobs being done through automation, that would just mean we have a more efficient way to produce the already existing overabundance of resources that we have and just redistribute that to everybody. There's plenty of materials and
Oh
resources in
yeah.
the world for everyone to live a comfortable life. So under socialism, ideally, even if we did have massive, rapid, uh, automation, that would just leave everybody to be able to live comfortably and focus on things they enjoy, such as art, such as doing YouTube. Assuming anyone enjoys doing that, just kind of doing whatever you like because the jobs are being done, and there's plenty of materials, so why not? There are no CEOs or anybody at the top taking all the wealth.
I mean, yeah, like the one of the big roles of the state, I feel, should be to crush mega corporations whenever they start to appear.
Yeah,
Um,
that's more of like and I'm not sure if I'm 100% sold. Like my end game is in like an ideal world is the idea of there being no state and no governments and everything's being run by like communities democratically of like, workers. Everyone would be a worker. There would be no, bourgeoisie under my system. But I feel like in the meantime, a good thing to move towards would be like a disempowered state for the most part, and the state's number one job would essentially be to make sure anybody who can't make it is taken care of, and to prevent massive companies from forming, monopolies. Just making sure there are no firms that end up choking out other firms. I feel like that would be a good use of the state if it still needed to exist.
I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at, but just less, you know? Uh, you're just describing a more extreme version of my ideology, I feel.
Yeah, probably. You're probably like a pretty left-leaning sock dem. One day you'll be a full-on communist, and I'll see you out there on the streets when the revolution happens, and probably not in our lifetimes. And yeah, I'll salute to you. I'll see you there.
I see you there.
Yeah.
Revolution scares me as a concept because I depend on society for things now. Like I never cared about the idea of society collapsing that much. Like it was always this sort of unimaginable bad thing, like nuclear war or fucking being genocided in a war. It was like, oh, that could happen and it would be bad, but I can't really picture it. But like now I have, you know, a home and I want to be on hormones. Those two things that I sort of like depend on society not fully collapsing for make me go, I don't know. Revolutions kind of sound scary.
Yeah, well, on the bright side, most lefties that you see on Twitter are brain dead LARPers, okay? When they say don't vote, go out and protest, the revolution is coming, comrades, prepare. These people have never gone to a protest. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They have not thought about the implications of a fucking revolution once. For one, most important thing you need for a revolution is overwhelming public support, which leftists do not fucking have. And leftists are extremely internet poisoned, and they think that their niche groups on Twitter represent the vast majority of people in their country or in the world. I'm sorry, chat. I'm very, very sorry, but leftism is an unbelievably niche ideology. Communism and socialism are not popular. They will not be popular for a very long time. Even most people who even voted for Bernie Sanders are not socialists or leftists, okay? They were like sock dems and more progressive liberals, okay? We are not in any way ready to engage in a fucking proletarian revolution against the bourgeoisie and the state, especially in America, with the most powerful, well-manned, well-funded military in the entire world that can literally eviscerate an entire crowd with heat-seeking, unmanned drones, all right? I'm sorry. For now, we need to focus on broader systemic reformation change to make things a little more bearable while we are forced to exist under the system. Sorry, I had to go off of my chat there for a minute because I see people talking about revolution, and I don't know. It's just we're
Oh, I can't
just
see chat. On my phone, I can only see your face with a circle appear around it occasionally.
yeah. Well, thankfully, yeah, you can't see my well, actually my chat's pretty nice. My chat's generally pretty cool. My YouTube chat is just a hellhole, but my website chat is generally very very nice. And they like you a lot, so we're doing good.
You've got
Um
to admit, the word revolution does sound pretty cool, though. Like when you say it, you're like, oh yeah.
it feels good, yeah. And like I can't really see the future. I don't know what's going to happen. It's possible within like 20 years automation just becomes so extreme that like a shit ton of like a massive portion of the population loses their jobs and they want to have some kind of revolution. But I feel like we're closer to a fascistic revolution than we are to a like a socialist one. Do you ever get that feeling?
Yeah. I
Like
like I feel sort of like can find overwhelming amounts of any ideology you want to see on the internet. And like I'm not going outside much at the moment. I'm not allowed legally to visit other people's homes. Um, you know, that's neat. So it's really all I'm seeing is just basically, and like I only interact with basically the one political ideology in my real life. So and then just see fucking everything in swathes online. So it's like I don't know what's gonna happen. It just feels like the world is gonna divide into these weird niche subcultures, and there's just gonna be a complete obliteration of a mainstream, and it's just
yeah.
gonna be entirely subcultures.
I actually have a question because this is extremely relevant, but do you watch ContraPoints?
I try to. That like I often forget to watch a video when it comes out, and I've been going through the backlog. But yeah, in theory, I enjoy videos a lot. I don't know why I don't get around to watching them. They're just sort of intense content, you know. You sort of
Yeah.
have to sit down in a mood to watch it, and I don't get in that mood very much. Like, oh, time to fucking absorb some information.
ContraPoint's videos are like sitting down for an overwhelmingly massive, just delicacy, like a giant fucking steak, like $100 steak, and it's just it's like the sides are like over the plate. They're like kind of sagging over the plate because it's so massive, it's taking up so much room, and it's overwhelming almost. But at the same time, you're excited for it. But it's like I may have to take a break, but I also don't want to take a break because it's so good quality and the narrative is so it flows so well. It can be overwhelming for sure. But I actually this is relevant because ContraPoints just released a new video called "Voting" a couple days ago, and in that video, she talks about how Twitter sort of narrows the lens through which you view the political like Overton window, and you start to see if you spend enough time on Twitter, you'll start to see the majority of people that you run into are a certain political ideology. And even though your brain may tell you, like, you may know, like, consciously, okay, most people don't have this ideology, from so much experience and so much exposure to these people, it starts to make you think there's an overwhelming amount of these people per capita, when it's really not true. Like, if
Oh
we look
yeah.
at the math, only like 2% of the population uses Twitter. Most of them are young, and even then, the YouTube algorithm, or the Twitter algorithm is only showing you certain types of tweets, and you start to kind of have your lens narrowed quite a bit to like what kind of ideologies you're seeing, and it sort of like fucks with your perception of the world, you know?
I mean, yeah, like I swear I've noticed thousands of ads following. I don't know where they all came from. I want them to go away. Like, I know I want them to stick around, but shut up.
Yeah,
Um,
I've talked to like progressive people who do apolitical content, and they notice that there's a lot of like reactionaries in their audience, or like people who are, not don't have great political takes in their audience, and they're like, what do I do about this? And it's like, if you make apolitical content, you're going to have a massive diverse audience of people with certain opinions, and sometimes those opinions are going to be very undesirable. It's unfortunate.
just like yeah, the just the ANCAPs on on like they are fuck. I mean, first of all, like I see my cringe 15-year-old self, and which doesn't help.
Mm.
But they set me off in a way that other shitty ideologies don't. Um, so I tend to just mute them a lot.
I I've been blocking the Bernier Busters and the Tankies. I actually, a couple weeks ago, I had like a ton of Tankies and stuff calling me a liberal and getting really mad that I haven't read enough theory, and they were sending like my parents' address and saying they're gonna burn my house down in DMs. So I would just like block them over and over and over again. Some were also sending me pictures of the Unabomber saying, "Hey bro, what's your address?" And I was like, "Okay, Jesus, you people are fucking insane." So that's the group that I'm currently not a big fan of, but it's sort of moved to the Bernier Busters. But yeah, I've never really had like a big anti-ANCAP arc yet. Like most of the ANCAPs and I'll unblock you, Chef. Don't worry. Most of the ANCAPs and stuff that I end up meeting tend to be like very easy to make receptive to like leftism or socialism, because if they're an actual ANCAP and they're not actually like a right, like a far right person just pretending to be a libertarian, it's pretty easy to get them there. Just be like, yeah, anti-state, but did you know that if there's no state to keep them in line, the corporations will become the state? I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty easy depending on who you're talking to and if they're in good faith.
I mean, yeah, that's the line of reasoning I should be going down with them. But normally I just go, my just the line taxation is theft sets me off, but it's necessary for society to function. Call it whatever bad word you want.
I actually heard a surprising take from an ANCAP about the term taxation is theft, and this ANCAP didn't believe that. It might have actually been my friend Dankorps, but I'm not 100% sure. Basically, they said that taxation can't be theft because theft is determined by the law of the state that you live under. And if it's the state deciding that they are going to take a certain amount of your money in exchange for certain public services, they're the ones who decide what theft is. Them taking it thus cannot be theft because they have not claimed that it is theft. That was actually a pretty interesting way of argumentation. I didn't. I think it's actually pretty decent, and I might start using that line more often. That was Sam Cedar talking to a libertarian, was it? Yeah, that was. Yeah, no, that was Sam Cedar talk. No, that was the libertarian talking to Sam Cedar. Yeah, me and Lonnie were watching Sam Cedar the other night, and that's what it came from. Yeah, it was an ANCAP saying it. Yeah, nice. Um, what do you think of that line?
I'm more a fan of the it's the fee you pay to live in a functional society. You like opt out of being a member of society unless you leave the country, and in which case you can stop paying to that company if you want. But when you're in the country, it's the fee that you pay for the to work. Like if you want to phrase it to an angle, it's not it's not a tax. It's the price that you're paying for the services you use.
Yeah, that's a good argument, and anybody who's in good faith will understand it. But then there's like a lot of and it was lagging out a little bit. Could you get the phone a little closer to your mouth?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, that's way better. Yeah, the problem is most ANCAPs will respond to that by saying, well, you don't have any choice but to live in the state. Like, you can't just leave and go to another country. Most countries have very strict, like, border patrol, and you have to get citizenship, so that's tough. And you were born to this country without any consent. Generally, the people live in the country they were born in. So it's sort of like a coercive or like forced on you type thing. It's not like other things where you pay your rent because you chose to rent that house. If we imagine taxes as being like rent to live in the country, you were either born here or there are so many things preventing you from even leaving that it's just not you can't really leave. It's like in a video game. Some people sometimes you start in the easy early leveling zone that is America or the UK or Australia or most like Western countries, or you end up getting put into a really hard leveling zone like I don't know, like Somalia.
I mean, yeah, those are all reasonable arguments as well. But I would posit that none of them are like particularly argument tax, but against the other shit that's causing those issues.
Yeah.
Like it should be easier to migrate.
Yeah, no, I'm in favor of open borders. I think there should be completely free, unimpeded movement between countries. I don't see any reason for keeping populations from just being able to go wherever. I mean, as long as you have like I'm in big favor of community policing. If there are people coming in from other countries that are doing bad shit, then I don't see why like individual like community policing can't take care of that, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. Um Oh, there was a question that that chat's been asking me. Well, actually, two questions. There's one that chat's been asking me, and there was one that I was curious about. How did you stumble across my like YouTube?
Um, I think I found a video of yours.
Oh, wait, could you bring the phone a little closer?
It's close. I don't know what's wrong there.
It's just cutting out a little
I
bit.
think I found a video about. I think I found your video about ER.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've been basically on my radar since then, but I've not started actually checking you properly. So.
Oh, you're dying. You're gone.
Oh, is my connection dying? Is that what's going on?
I think so. You sound good now, but the last thing I heard was you've been on my radar since.
Yeah, you've been on my radar since like that AR video, but I've only started like checking out what you actually do properly more recently.
Damn, that was a long time ago. I was small back then. I'm actually really embarrassed by my older content from back then because I was nowhere near as good at making arguments. I wasn't nearly as knowledgeable
Oh,
and all that. So if I could do it again, I would probably revisit ER to like cover him again in like modern day so I could do a better job. That was a long time ago. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, like same as like my old content as well. Just I'm embarrassed of most of my old content from like the first 6 months to year. I know, but yeah, I mean, I remember. I mean, with ER, it's like I'm personally convinced he is just an edgy boy, who is thinks it's really funny to convince people he's a Nazi. But since he's trying to convince people he's a Nazi, if I don't blame anyone for thinking he legitimately believes those things, and for calling that out. Like, yeah, that's a legit. Yeah, you can call that out. That's a reasonable thing to call out. Um, but it's like I see when people say, I see when people call ER a Nazi. A huge reaction to that is people like getting annoyed, saying no, he's not. He just likes to make edgy jokes. Like, how can you get annoyed that people think the guy who likes convincing people he's a Nazi is a Nazi? That's that seems like that seems like a fairly standard result of that course of action.
Um That's an interesting perspective, but there is some issue that I take with that. So the problem is when we're talking about an online figure, or really anybody actually, you can never really know what they think or believe. It's impossible. Nobody's a mind reader, except for the CIA, with their mind reading satellites. Um, you have to go off of their actions if you want to determine what somebody believes or what they're thinking. I think it's inductive reasoning. It's inductive reasoning. Because you really can't know what someone thinks. Nobody can know that I am a leftist. No, you can't read my mind. It's impossible to know for sure. But you can go off of what I say and do, and pretty strongly get an idea of what my political views are. Because if I wasn't a leftist, why would I advocate for what I do, and why would I do it the way that I do? Um, there are other theories people have, but I think the most reasonable one is, oh, he must be a leftist. Xander Hall must be a leftist. So when it comes to I've since he became relevant. I originally watched his Steven Universe videos. I'd never seen Steven Universe. I still really haven't seen much of it. Um, and I kind of stumbled across it, and I thought it was really funny at the time. And then I caught some weird phrases and some weird references that kind of came off as really strange to me. And I didn't really understand them at the time. And then when I got older, I found out a lot of the dog whistles and a lot of the references that he was making were real fucking Nazi references. Like the one in his death I don't know if you're aware of this one, but the one in his Death Note video about Heather Heyer, the lady who got murdered by a Nazi at the Unite the Right rally. He's talking about how if you write in the death note that you want someone to get hit by a car at a specific time, but there are too many people in the way for it to be physically possible, then that person will just die of a heart attack. And then shows footage of the sky footage of the car plowing through the people. And I believe it was actually slowed down because when you watch the actual ground footage, you can see the car just fucking rams through the group and Heather Heyer goes flying when you actually look at ground footage that isn't edited. Um, so that was a reference that he made. He made a whole video where he basically just explained the Jewish question to replace Jews with gems. He's got a Gab account where he talks about how do you not red pill your friends IRL? I still appreciate theoretical advice, theoretical. And he says he pretends to joke about it until the punchline really lands, I would assume. And then he talks about on Gab, not really, they have an idea of my power level since I'm so darned edgy, but I try to leave enough room for them to laugh it off. Spoonful of sugar and all that, no problem, theoretically. So it's the best way to red pill people on the Jewish question, pretend to joke about it until the punchline really lands, I would assume. It's basically he doesn't do it on any larger platforms, but I feel like there's just such an overabundance of evidence that's really hard to say that he's just trolling. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether or not he's really a Nazi, because if
Oh
anybody
yeah.
ever dares to criticize him, actual Nazis come to defend him. So I don't know. It's really weird
I mean, that's the
situation.
I am convinced that the quotes where he says, "No, I'm not joking. This is how I convince people." If your sense of humor was convincing people you're a Nazi, that would be a great joke. But yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter when you say the same because either way, the same thing is being said, and when the ambiguity is sort of the point, then yeah, that the same thing is being when the point is you can't tell if it's a joke, then you can't tell if it's a joke, and then both interpretations become equally viable, or even the serious the serious interpretation becomes more viable, interpreting it as a joke. At which point, yeah, that's good though.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. I'm personally of the opinion that he's absolutely a Nazi. Everything about his personality, what he does, what he's engaged in, the evidence, everything leads me to believe that he is. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because if most people think that he's a Nazi and Nazis think he's a Nazi and they rally behind him and they defend you if you they attack you if you to defend him if you accuse him of it and try to criticize him, then it really doesn't matter because what really matters is how you influence the public and your audience. There's sort of a similar conversation about this around PewDiePie. I'm of the opinion that PewDiePie is not a Nazi. I don't even think he's right leaning. I think if I were to guess, I think PewDiePie is like a progressive leaning liberal with some like centristy kind of gamer takes. I've seen
Yeah,
enough
pretty
evidence
much.
to suggest that PewDiePie's actual political opinions are pretty fucking progressive. The problem is he seems really hesitant to get into politics and to just like outright say what his political views are. He'll say things like racism is bad and whatnot, and I believe him when he says that. It seems pretty genuine. And there's like stuff from like back in 2014 of him like mentioning politics that is pretty progressive. He just kind of seems like a edgy gamer boy who like sometimes says the N word, or at least back then he sometimes said the N word. Um, and the problem is
Connection there.
that oh, sorry, did you lose connection?
I heard like edgy gamer boy who sometimes says that, and I
Oh,
knew what the next words were gonna be, but that's where I cut off.
the UK internet heard it coming and was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! No, you don't." Um, yeah, no, I just think he's like a progressive, but he's like kind of an edgy boy who likes to say the N word. Um, the problem is, even if he is really progressive and he's just sort of like making mess ups and being a little too edgy sometimes, and maybe a little hesitant to get really into politics because he doesn't want to jeopardize his brand, and it's just not good if you get really big off of non-political content. It's really not a good idea to get into politics because you're going to end up alienating a massive portion of your audience no matter what you say and do. Um, and so he's sort of grown a community of actual Nazis in his audience that genuinely think he's, and they always say, our guy, you know? And it's crazy. It's actually one of the most annoying things that there's like all these Nazis that genuinely think the largest YouTuber ever to exist is um is on their side. Apparently, Pewds has a lot of dog whistles. He doesn't really. Like I've seen every instance of him being a Nazi. You can come on and provide every little bit of evidence. I can argue an equal amount of evidence, if not more so, to the contrary. Yeah, I don't know. Pewds' favorite author is a fascist. Do you really think that PewDiePie is aware of the political affiliations of his favorite author who wrote like one book that he really likes? I just think he's sort of like an irresponsible figure when it comes to his platforming at the end of the day. Um,
No,
yeah,
I
I don't
can't
know.
take anything that I can't take it seriously when I hear it because I've watched a lot of his videos. They are very consumable. Like that's why he's so successful. But
Yeah.
I find myself watching him a lot recently, over like the last year. I would be fucking beyond shocked if he was not even like not just a Nazi, like if he was uh like
Conservative.
uh I'm looking for the you like conservative on like specifically the social axis, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And he's from
I
Sweden,
would
so
be
he's got to be
so
kind of
surprised.
economically progressive, right?
Um, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe.
Most
Uh,
like people from Nordic countries that I've talked to seem to be very much in favor of the free healthcare and the social safety nets they have in those countries generally. Also, it's true. PewDiePie's Spotify leaked, and he listens to Sophie, which is pretty fucking LGBT. So that's pretty. That right there is interesting. That is some evidence right there that he might not be a Nazi.
I mean, yeah, like I just can't take the I mean, kind of like he fucking apologized for accidentally misgendering a trans woman. Like that's not Nazi behavior. And like
Oh yeah,
it was, it wasn't even a forced apology or anything. Like it seemed very genuine. Like every time he apologizes, it seems so genuine and like it would be hard to fake. It doesn't seem like here's the fucking thing that my producer wrote me to say. Whenever he slips up and then apologizes, which has been happening a lot less recently, I might add. But it seems very genuine, very much like either he knew he made a mistake as soon as he did it, or he's learned his lesson from what he did. Um, which is all you can fucking ask.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's all you can hope for. The what I would like to see from PewDiePie would just be like an outright, um, just an outright like an announcement, like, hey, there's a problem. This is the group in my community that like is an issue, like the alt writers and Nazi types, and just like talk about it. I don't know, like that would be nice, but I feel like that's wishful thinking, considering it would be like he would disenfranchise a significant amount of his audience, even the more like
Yeah, but there's
centered
a
leaning
hundred
people.
million. Who cares? I wouldn't care about losing,
Neither would
a
I, yeah.
significant portion of my audience at 100. And at that point as well, like, honestly, rather than a serious video on that topic, I would love to see a video where he just roasts the fuck out of the shit these people are saying.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Uh,
I'd love to
I,
see
I,
that.
I would prefer it if he didn't, like, take them seriously as in the ways that you need to, but I would prefer it if he just treats them as a lol, look how fucking dumb this shit is. These people actually believe this shit. What the fuck? That's hilarious. But also really sad and bad. That's the approach I want to see him.
That would be pretty good. I would like to see that. Like a meme review, only it's like shitting on Nazi memes. That would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
pretty
pretty
funny.
much.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think the last controversial thing he did was his hate symbols video, in which he kind of in which he like talked about dog whistling, or like things like the okay sign and whatnot, and he talked about how these things were like trolling the media into thinking that they were actually like dog whistles. But the problem is, it doesn't matter if it's just if they're not trolling if they're actually doing it. If Nazis are using the okay sign to signal that they're Nazis, then is it really trolling? And it was like really weird. Like it came off as being so sort of like uneducated on the topic, but at the same time could be malicious. So a lot of people thought it was. I just generally get the impression that like he doesn't know what he's talking about in regards to politics.
I mean, at the point where you've got a dog with okay sign, I feel, and this is completely based on intuition, don't cite me, was I feel that it was mostly used by people who thought it was just a funny troll, and then like some white supremacists decided, oh, we can do that as well. And they never became even like a significant proportion of the people. Is the impression I got.
Um,
Um,
I looked into it quite a bit. The meme started on 4chan, which is, it started on Poll. So I mean, to begin with, the meme was probably started by actual white supremacists. Poll is infested with them. And generally people who are like, haha, let's do an epic troll on the mainstream media are generally that type of person. And the problem is it stops being a troll the second that real Nazis start doing it and taking it seriously. Then it's not really trolling anymore. You're just kind of doing the thing. And there are people who did it to troll, but like I don't think the New Zealand Christchurch shooter, when he did the OK sign at the camera at his trial after murdering 50 Muslims and writing a manifesto filled with anti-Semitic and white nationalist propaganda, I don't think he was trolling when he did the little OK sign at the camera.
I mean, yeah, yeah, I can give you that definitely. Um, I still feel like for, I feel like it's there's a line where it becomes the majority of its usage, rather, or even a significant proportion of its usage, and still get the impression that like even if there were real Nazis doing it, that they were never a significant proportion of its, which I feel has to at least factor in.
Yeah, actually, I completely agree with this, and this is you're aware with Muda from some ordinary gamers, right?
No.
Oh, really? He's like big dude. Yeah, he's really big on YouTube. I ended up covering one of his videos recently, or I should say a couple months ago, in which he talks about hate symbols and refers specifically to the removal of the OK sign from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I think it was the newest one besides Cold War, and he goes over the Pepe uh, uh, ADL page where they talk about Pepe the Frog being a hate symbol, and a ton of people reference this, but they never actually read it. And I feel like if they read it, then they would not disagree with the designation that Pepe the Frog has, because it's a very nuanced and good take, I think. Um, Here it is. The majority of uses of Pepe the Frog have been and continue to be non-bigoted. However, it was inevitable that, as the meme proliferated in online venues such as 4chan, 8chan, and Reddit, which have many users who delight in creating racist memes and imagery, a subset of Pepe memes would come into existence that centered on racist, anti-Semitic, or other bigoted themes. However, because so many Pepe the Frog memes are not bigoted in nature, it is important to examine use of the meme only in context. The mere fact of posting a Pepe meme does not mean that someone is racist or a white supremacist. However, if the meme itself is racist or anti-Semitic in nature, or it appears in a context containing bigoted or offensive language or symbols, then it may have been used for hateful purposes. I feel like that's a very nuanced, reasonable take, and I don't feel like a lot of people read past the first one or two paragraphs when it came to that.
That's fully based. That's just correct, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't see a reasonable way to disagree with that.
Well, there were hundreds of videos getting mad about that around 2016 when this happened, and not a single one of those people actually read past the first paragraph or two. Not a single one. They just made a big deal about Pepe being a hate or being designated by the ADL as a hate symbol now, but like they literally say, by the way, tons of context where it's not racist. You have to consider it with context and what's going on around it. And that's my opinion on hate symbols too, right? I feel like, for example, if somebody is doing a parody, like if J-Reg did a parody making fun of Nazis and he did a little Sieg Heil and was wearing his like a little fucking Nazi armband, I don't think that would be reason. It would be reasonable to assume that he's a Nazi when the vast majority of his work would suggest that he's probably pretty left-leaning. There are contexts where you can do any of this stuff and it not be racist as long as you were doing it responsibly and it's obvious that you aren't actually doing it in a genuine manner.
I mean, yeah, you can literally take it from the point you're an actor playing a character, and this is what it says you do in the script. You're playing Hitler for a film, right?
Yeah.
Take it from there, and you can do that. That's like the perfect. Oh, okay, so that's definitely not racist to do that. Then context,
Yeah, like
and then
Charlie
you can
Chaplin.
extrapolate context from there.
Yeah, I don't think Charlie Chaplin's a Nazi because I think he played Hitler in really fucking old movie. Yeah,
They're just dogwood.
yeah, it's just a dog whistle. They knew they were doing it for 4chan. They were the proto 4chan. Um, I was actually really interested because chat wants to ask some questions in a little bit, but chat has been like nonstop asking me, what is the political? Because I know you're friends with Rags. I actually debated Rags a year ago in October, um, last October. I know you're friends with Rags and Mahler and stuff on the EFAP podcast. And from what I've seen of them, and I used to watch all of them quite frequently when I was younger and kind of becoming a reactionary. Where would you say they are politically? I don't want to make you shit talk or your friends or anything like that. I'm just curious and what your thoughts are on their politics. Where you think they're at?
Mauler explicitly doesn't talk politics on his channel, so I wouldn't really want to I wouldn't want to say things that he said to me privately. He makes an explicit effort to be apolitical when he's talking publicly, and move the topics of his podcasts away from any political topics if they come up.
Okay.
Which, yeah, and Rags, I tend to clash with on political issues fairly often. I mean, if you know Rags' political takes and you know mine, you know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rags is I wouldn't want to place him in a box economically, really. I mean, he's definitely not a leftist or a socialist, but
Mhm.
in terms of what kind of capitalist he is, I couldn't really say. I would doubt he believes in big safety nets, but what part of capitalism he really lies in, I couldn't tell you. And then in terms of social politics, not very based.
Yeah, I
But
can imagine.
he knows. I think that because he definitely the same thing.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Rags. I watched Rags almost daily. When I discovered Rags, I binge watched all of his videos, and I would watch every single one of the videos he released. Even before I started getting like sort of radicalized to the right, because I was a big fan of computers and PCs, and I really liked his like debunking console peasants videos and stuff like that. And it's through him I discovered Top Hats and Champagne and Bulletberry, who I don't even know what the fuck is going on with Bulletberry right now. I talked to Fratanga, and apparently Bulletberry is doing all sorts of crazy shit. Like I don't know what he's up to, but it ain't good. Apparently, it ain't good. The last Bulletberry video I watched was an episode of. Are you aware of him? I assume you are, right?
My exposure to Bullet Barry is knowing a lot of people who used to know him. Um, and then
Yeah,
I visited his channel once to like see what it was and didn't watch any of it.
he made really good videos back in the day, but the last video by him I saw was a video called "Everything Is Person to Person." Homosexuality. And he talks about how all I'm saying is if I was gay, I would want to be studied to find out exactly why it is I'm gay. And it's like he doesn't say anything negative about gay people. It's just really, really, really weird. It's like if a stoner just went on an overly explicit long rant about like homosexuality. It was really, really strange. Yeah, his Jehovah's Witnesses videos is really good. Everything else is weird. Yeah, those videos are pretty good. And a lot of his other
I
stuff
mean,
is good.
so you know that you can be studied as to why you're straight, right? Like there's
Yeah.
reasons for everything that you are, even if it's a majority thing.
Yeah, it was just it kind of gave a lot of people a bad feeling. Is the only way I can really like sum it up. But
It didn't pass the vibe check.
it did not pass my vibe check, no. And I watched that a while ago. I don't know what he's up to now. Apparently, he's like doing a shit ton of drugs in fucking Asia somewhere. That's the last thing I heard. Which all the power to him. Everybody loves drugs. They should be legalized, or decriminalized, I should say. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I don't like correct me or feel the need to say anything more if you don't feel comfortable with it. But like my impression I've gotten from Mahler is that I don't think he's like a hardcore reactionary or anything. I think he is a 2016 style like shoe on head or Chris Ray gun level anti-SJW. That's where I kind of get the opinion of him from there, just from like watching his videos. Um, but yeah, if you don't feel like yeah, that's just kind of the opinion that I get personally. Um,
I mean, I wouldn't really that I would just disagree with that. I wouldn't really like want to single him out as what he him out. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't like if I were to tell you what everything that he's told me in confidence, it wouldn't be me condemning him. I don't like have problems with his political. They're not exactly the same as mine, but I don't take at
okay.
all really. Um,
Well,
I
I
mean,
can.
there are issues we disagree on, but nothing where I'm like, ew,
Well, hey, if you,
you know,
I feel
you know how
like,
it is.
yeah, yeah, I definitely understand that. I feel like, honestly, I'm pretty pleased with that because like you said you kind of get into arguments with Rags, but you don't get into arguments with Mahler. So that tells me Mahler's political opinions are probably more agreeable than Rags. So I think we can go off of that. Hopefully, Chad is pleased with that because my chat like when I got in was like, all right, you're gonna have to ask Jay about Rags and Mahler. Okay, we need to know. We need you to hold them accountable to this. I'm like, guys, I don't know how socially inept you all are, but you don't do that. You don't talk to somebody and say, "Hey, you're friends with these people that I disagree with. I need you to explain yourself, please." Yeah, I'm gonna need you to do that. Like that is not how we do things here. I apologize. Um, yeah, I mean, okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Was there anything that you wanted to go over before we get to questions?
Not particularly.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll just hop right into it. Hopefully my dono list is updated. It does not seem to be. Yeah, it does not fucking seem to be. So I am, with that said, going to go ahead and boot up Streamlabs. And go ahead and find the donos from there, because people have been asking questions there. By the way, if you want to get your questions read, donate. That's the best way to do it, because otherwise I may just not see it. That's how we do it here. That's how you trick them right there into giving you money. Let's see, donation history. All right, let's see. What are the ones from today? Okay. Here we go. This is from 10/21/20. This is the first one. Uwu Raka 12, thank you for the tier 1 sub, said, that combo with Griffey was amazing, gave me Hunter Avalon vibes, thank you. Rio Dango Bangle, I just remembered something. Shit, are these not coming through? Okay, here it is. Burn the Establishment, thank you for the tier 1 sub, said, can you please ask Jay if they bought oat milk with the €5 I donated during the Goliath stream? Enjoy the sub, Burn. Oh, apparently this person donated you €5 during a Goliath stream. I guess, did you buy oat milk with that?
Confirm I bought oat milk since, you know, all the money you donate goes into like a big pool of where it's indistinguishable from other bits of my money. Like, you know, I can't tell your €5 from another donation's €5, but I have spent at least €5 on oat milk since then. I like oat milk.
Well, that's kind of how it works, right? You know, like the money, when we talk about digital donations, there's no actual like physical money being transferred, so it can exist sort of fluidly in that stockpile of savings, and you know, in essence, you basically spent it. So yeah, that's pretty good. Almond milk is pretty good. I've never had oat milk before, but I
mean,
heard
I guess the other thing to do with a donation is to go out like, oh, I've got this donation, I'm going to specifically go and buy some extra oat milk with this money. I did not do that.
Well, the best way to do it would be to end the stream as soon as you got the donation, and immediately, before anyone else can donate, go buy some oat milk, because then you know that $5, that you last got went straight to the oat milk. That would be the absolute best way.
You know, YouTube doesn't pay out for a couple of days. Well, no, it doesn't pay out until a certain day of the month.
Mine pays out tomorrow on the 22nd.
Yeah, the payday's coming.
Is it the same for everybody?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. Mine has been inconsistent in the past, which is why I don't know what day it's going to be now.
Huh. Yeah, I've always had it on the same day. What's my pay gonna be? Hold on, I'm curious. Almost 2,000. I am $11 away from a $2,000 paycheck from YouTube. Please, guys, watch my videos. I just love seeing a clean 2K come in from YouTube ad revenue. Please, please. Or super chat, that also helps it. Let's see. Lazy Gales, thank you for the $5, said, what do you call a group of turfs? An infestation. True. That's true. The Real Dango Bangle, thank you for the $5, said, what about space colonization? How can we do this in a socialist, non-imperialistic manner? Also, what about first contact? That's a pretty broad question, but I will leave that up to Jay. What is your thoughts on space colonization and first contact?
Space colonization is a cool idea, not really practical for any reasons that I'm aware of, but it's pretty based as a thing to want to do. I'm not sure how you could, like, I guess just funding it like if you're doing it via socialism, you just fund it with, surely, like, and then if you do it in a fully capitalist system, you just incentivize corporations to go to other planets, right?
Yeah, I feel like under socialism, well, the thing about capitalism, and like basically every Marxist agrees with this, is the idea is that the idea is that capitalism is a good system to rapidly industrialize under, because when you have a lot of billionaires and millionaires funding like economic growth and industrialization, it's a lot faster than under socialism. And so then eventually you find yourself with a really good basic amount of industrialization to work off of, and then you move on to socialism or communism, and all of that is already built and made, and everything else can sort of be built up on. This is the mistake the USSR made, because the USSR went from feudalism straight to communism, basically, without any basically any industrialization. And what ended up happening was they basically took all of their farm workers, because that's what mostly everybody was, and dedicated them to working in factories and stuff like that. And then there weren't enough people working farms, and then a fucking famine happened. And then when the famine happened, the government in Stalin took advantage of that to fuck over the Ukrainians, because they were very racist against Ukrainians, and deprived them of food and resources, and let as many of them die and starve to death as possible. So yeah, that is why capitalism is a necessary step towards socialism, in my opinion. But it is always meant to be, and will always be, a temporary system. It is a stepping stone to socialism and communism, and whatever comes after that.
I mean, the end goal is fully automated luxury space communism,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the point where the point where you've got a computer that's as smart as or smarter than a human being. You could literally have 100% of jobs taken over by machines. I mean, like they've also got to be able to move in the same way that people can, but I feel like you've probably got that covered. But you know, those two things, you can literally have every job taken over by a machine. At which point, if we still live in a capitalist system, there is a strong worry that the most powerful people will uh, hoard those goods and make other people work for it when we are producing easily enough resources for everyone essentially for free.
Mm-hmm.
You would still have a risk that the people who own those machines hold essentially ransom the profits that the machines produce, and that would be terrible. Like that's shit.
Yeah.
Just people by right of their birth or situation when this new situation arose, taking control of the world when there is really nothing that they're contributing other than owning the stuff that actually produces the value.
Yeah.
And what we need socialism by that point, or we need everyone to be on an equal footing by that point.
Yeah, that's basically the idea. Like liberal socialism, liberal socialism, liberal capitalism is never, it can't last. We're seeing a lot of the symptoms of late stage capitalism now, and there are a lot of people trying to make trying to explain it and what we should do about it. People on the left, the socialists and communists, say it's because of the fact that capitalism just doesn't work. The wealth gets hoarded by too many. There's when there's plenty that exists for everybody else, but not everyone's getting it. And then you have issues like climate change and whatnot. These are all inherent to capitalism, because when you have single individuals at the top of everything that control the money and capital and the people, they're able to orchestrate with the government to prevent any efforts being made to fight climate change, because that would affect their bottom line. Um, but yeah, like the socialists say it's because of capitalism, while the fascists say it's because of brown people coming in and yada yada yada, taking jobs, so on and so on. When that's really not what's happening here. Um, yeah, it's sort of like a tug of war between the people to explain why capitalism is failing.
Right. Yeah. I mean
Sorry.
that's the battleground I see on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically that. Also, sorry if I sound a little off. I'm very tired for some reason. I got a good amount of sleep. I have no idea why I'm so sleepy. I could probably use some coffee. Um, the real Dango Bangle, thank you for the additional $5 donation, said, I know this is off topic. It turns out even if Nancy and Trump agreed to the deal, Mitch and friends would still block it. He's actively blocking this stuff. This comes from their mouths and insiders. Oh yeah, I actually have a I'm curious. What are your thoughts on the American election?
Biden is almost certainly the better option, but I don't really have all the information I want on.
Well,
You know,
what you just said was completely correct on almost every single issue. I would actually argue I've yet to see an issue where Trump is better than Biden.
I have seen everything I have seen of Biden and Trump. Biden comes out looking superior, but I like uh, I've not seen literally everything. So that's my don't cite me uh, disclaimer.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen about as much as there is to see. Um, I've been dealing with the Bernie or Busters, people who are so ass mad that Bernie didn't make it, which I am too. But we move on and we move forward. Who are basically stuck in that shit and refuse to vote for Biden, get the I would argue literal fascist that is Trump out of power. Um, they just want to like sit back and not participate in bourgeoisie electoralism. They refuse to. They fucking refuse, and it's so goddamn annoying. Like God, you can get a mail-in ballot. You can do that. You can have them mail it to your house, then you mail it to them. You can track it on your phone. It's easy. It's really not that hard. It takes 5 minutes. But
It
yeah.
would literally be more productive to vote for.
Sorry, you cut out. Vote for what?
It would literally be more productive to vote for a third party at that point.
Yeah, well, I would honestly prefer that people vote third party over not voting at all, obviously. Although vote blue down ballot in terms of like local stuff, because like that is the difference between having like a sheriff Joe Apiro. I can never pronounce it. The shitty sheriff, the country's most awful sheriff is what he's called. All right, having a Apiro or Pio, um, Arpeo, and like a decent sheriff. I feel like there's like local elections are really important, even if you don't vote for the president. But holy fuck, vote for Biden, okay? Just vote for. I know this doesn't apply to you, but God, like we gotta get
I'm
Trump out of there.
It's pretty like my impression of voting for third parties is that you give people the impression that maybe it could work next time, perhaps. Like by voting for a third party, like the only time you want to vote for a third party in the US's current state, as far as I'm aware of it, is if there's not really any stakes in the election, which isn't true at the moment between red and blue. Um, if that's a very low stakes thing, then sure, vote for a third party to show people that, oh hey, maybe next time a third party could win, because that's all you're
Um,
doing with a third party vote is demonstrating that people vote third party sometimes.
So the problem is, and you're not American, so I guess I don't really blame you for this. Is that it is literally impossible for a third party to win in our current like electoral system. We have very hard bound, like grained in, like two-party system.
Why are
It's
they
the
there?
what do you mean? Oh, because they're allowed to exist, but they don't like actually make it ever. Like it's Democrats and Republicans. That's how it's been for a very long time, and I think the highest percentage of votes that like it's because of first past the post. Yeah, that's what's called. And the electoral college. Basically, I'm not sure if you're super aware, but the way our voting works is each state has a certain amount of delegates in the electoral college, and essentially what happens is per state, whatever the majority of people end up voting for, all that state's delegates end up going to whoever in that state was the majority that chose it, and it's based off of that state's population, which means like um, a state with like I don't know 100,000 people, like a really fucking rural state that's like really big geographically and doesn't have a lot of people, and they're all spread out and uneducated and blah blah blah. Um, could have a larger individual impact on the election than a state like New York City, which has a way larger population. They're just all like densely packed together, and in a smaller area. They may have a smaller say in the election than the fewer amount of people in a bunch of rural states, which is why you have things like the 2016 election happening where Hillary won the popular vote. More people total voted for her by nearly 4 million or more than 4 million votes, and yet Trump still became the president. Not to mention with the electoral college, I think the delegates can just go to whoever they end up deciding. Like they actually don't have to go to the
Yeah,
candidate that the majority of people pick. Like they can
yeah.
theoretically just go to anybody.
This part I found out all about this in 2016. I do understand this bit. Um, yeah, I mean here we have, in terms of third parties, the SNP, Scottish National Party, not Nationalist Party, if anyone had an alarm bell there, but um, it represents basically it always wins basically every Scottish seat here. Um, it's insane to me at that point that I mean, because British parties don't represent Scottish people and what they want really is the draw from that. So a separate party for Scottish people exists and wins fucking every election. But Scottish people don't represent the majority of the UK, so um, that's why I feel like independence is a very serious and like practical option. But that's verging into our stuff.
Yeah, I
But
know
yeah,
nothing about
third
UK
party
politics.
third parties are very fucking real here. The entirety of Scotland votes what is essentially third party, and it wins the entirety of Scotland every time.
Damn.
There's like I think last election there was one single seat that didn't go to MP. Like,
Huh.
can you imagine any country like that unanimously voting for a party?
No, I don't think any. I can't imagine America ever being that united. Although, ironically, if everyone voted, like if we had mandatory voting in America, then without a doubt. Ooh, thank you, coffee. Thank you, babe. My girlfriend gave me coffee. Awesome. Um, if we had like mandatory voting, like in Australia, I think they have that in Australia. Then I feel like Republicans would never win again. Get rid of the Electoral College and uh, uh, mandatory voting. Republicans would never win again. Democrats would win by a landslide every time. And honestly, third parties might even have a chance, especially if you get rid of first past the post and instead implemented ranked choice voting. That would probably be like the best way. And ranked choice voting would be better for like that's for um, more so for primaries. Like for example, you would be able to sort of do ranked choice voting. Like basically, the idea is, let's say your first choice is Bernie Sanders, you would mark Bernie Sanders as your first choice. Then if Bernie Sanders doesn't make it, you would mark Warren as your second choice. And then if let's say Kamala Harris is your third choice, you would mark her. So basically, you would vote once, and then you would rank your choices, like as people get eliminated. And so everyone would vote once. Everyone would vote once, and then as choices end up getting eliminated, your candidate or the candidate that ends up winning would be the one that you would get. I think it goes something along those lines. It's really complicated, but it's something along it.
Preference-based voting seems like a fucking no-brainer. I don't understand why it's not implemented in any of the countries I know about. Like, it may be implemented somewhere, but none of the countries whose electoral systems I'm familiar have preference-based voting. But it seems like
No,
such a fucking no-brainer.
no. It's really weird because most of these countries, kind of, most of the voting systems that we're aware of are sort of like manipulated by insane gerrymandering or like Republican or like more conservative types, because the conservatives are always the ones that do it, to try to make it so smaller populations of rural people out in the middle of nowhere who are like generally conservative and uneducated have more power in their vote than like the majority of people who are like educated city people who are more progressive. Um, the trees have a better vote than the city people who live in cities. Um, that seems to
Right.
be why it happens. Also, many of these electoral systems are old as fuck. Like these countries are hundreds of years old, and it used to be that's how voting would be the most efficient to do back when the way that votes were carried were on a fucking cart pulled by a horse. Um, but nowadays we could we could conceivably tally all the votes if we did it digitally in an hour or in 24 hours, because everyone has to have a whole day to vote. Including the lead up where you can do early voting. Like that's generally how it seems to go. Oh, and making not only making voting mandatory, but making it a federal paid holiday would also work too. Because the reason why, and this is actually found, I think it was some fucking big person, some Republican person in government said that he will never let voting or what's it called, election day become a federal holiday, because that would mean more minorities would vote and they would have a hard time winning.
You don't want to get caught saying that.
He got caught saying it. I mean, we all know that's what they're doing and that's what they think, but this guy got caught saying it.
I mean, like, yeah, the obvious fucking result of people not getting the day off work to vote and not getting a paid day off to vote is that people who are fucking depending on every day's work, people who are working class, people who are poor are not going to vote and are going to be underrepresented systematically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why they won't do it. Then there's like the voter ID laws that Republicans repeatedly try to push in the United States, like the idea that you have to go out of your way and like obtain a specific ID for voting that you need to have on you. I believe in Florida they have voter ID. I have a voter. Hold on, I have it in my fucking wallet. Is it actually like a full on voter ID? Fuck is my wallet? Oh, it's in my bedroom. I don't know. I was gonna check my voter registration. It's available online. I can probably actually find it here. Alex Haley, Florida voter ID. Don't worry, I live in California now. This isn't up to date. Uh,
Fully doxed.
yeah. Well, that's how Kiwi Farms found my old address when I lived in Florida. Yeah, I think it was like an actual voter ID, and it's made public. It's actually made completely public in Florida. That's how people can find you if they know your full name and have an idea of your political beliefs and your age and stuff. They can just look up your voter ID, and because it's completely out there in the open, online, publicly in Florida, they can just find out exactly where you live. They can find out your full name, your phone number, all that kind of shit. It's completely public in Florida.
That doesn't sound like a very good idea.
Um, there's like theories that it's done in part to sort of make it so that if you're like a Democrat voter, then all your information, like where you live and everything, is publicly available to try to like make it so that Democratic, because Republicans tend to have a ton of guns and aren't really scared of people knowing their address, but like if you're a Democrat, chances are you're not a big fan of like all of your information being made extremely public by the state and a perfectly organized, basically doc spin run by the Florida state government. So there's a lot of theories, and I think it holds merit that it was done to scare Democrats into not registering to vote.
I mean, yeah, that sounds absolutely insane. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be confident in pointing to any reason myself. Obviously, I wouldn't be like confident in prescribing a motivation to it, but there's. It sounds fucking insane to have that as a system you have in for any reason.
Yeah, it's really stupid. And it's perfectly Florida too, I'm sure you've heard the memes about Florida. I used to be a
And
Florida man
Florida man
myself.
is the main meme I hear.
Yeah, I used to be a Florida man myself, but I've retired from those days. I'm a California man now. Uh all right, let's get to some more donos because we're stalling too much on these. Um ManRay23, thank you for the $1. Says, "Hey Zan, I'm from a sanctuary city, and illegal immigrants pay taxes here with an ITIN number given to them." That's actually really good. What is your thoughts on like illegal immigration?
Like, it's not something I give much thought, really. Um, I don't really like care, you know. Um, I Yeah, it's not something that I am really motivated to have opinion. You know, you know,
Yeah,
it's
no,
just.
that's the right opinion, actually. That is the correct opinion to hold. At the end of the day, it really doesn't affect you much. I can't speak for the UK, but at least in the US, even illegal immigration actually ends up contributing a net benefit to the economy, which helps local businesses and everything like that. And on top of that, they end up what's the word I'm looking for? Brain farting. They end up committing less crime than native-born American citizens. So, like, I don't know how it is in the UK, but at least here in America, it is overwhelmingly positive, and it's just like racist Republicans that want to stop it.
I mean, I feel the point. It's it would be a narrative driven by racist Republicans at the start, right? But as soon as someone else hears that narrative, where there are whatever fucking argument to back it up, the person regurgitating the same argument themselves.
You cut out at the end there.
It's the person themselves regurgitating just arguments they've heard don't have to be racist.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I would say.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like you don't like if you've just heard the argument and you've been sort of indoctrinated that way, then I absolutely agree with that. It's just generally the people who spread it, the people who perpetuate it, tend to be
But like,
doing it purposefully.
If you have the hard facts, then the reason would be that you are racist at that point. If those if those are the hard facts and you hear them and you're still angry about illegal immigration, either you're some fucking massive stickler for the rules, or you are racist. I can't think of a third motivation that there could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Generally, I think most people, when they hear the data and they see it, they're like, "Oh, okay, wow, I didn't know that was true," and they usually just like chill the fuck out. But I've run into a lot of people who, no matter what you tell them, no matter what data you show them, still suggest, "Oh no, yeah, no, I don't believe that." The liberal media twisted the data. They have to commit more crime, and it's like, okay, buddy, you're not pleasant to talk to, you know?
Well, yeah, at any point where you any person who you cite a source to, and they say this source is like fucking uh you know uh conspired on by the fucking powers that be. This scientific study was politically motivated. At that point, I can't care enough to that conversation.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's clear and plain anti-intellectualism, and I have no respect for it whatsoever. So,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not impossible that there are scientific studies that are uh, corrupted by political agendas, but like you can't make that claim baselessly.
Yeah.
That's a claim you need to back up.
But yeah, I understand if someone provides context to data that may suggest it may not be collected in the best faith. Like for example, there was a study that's really popular with TERFs to cite, claiming claiming I think it was yeah, it was the claiming rapid onset gender dysphoria, like saying that gender dysphoria can just be like essentially like psychologically transferred or almost like transmittable to other people, because like if you're around a bunch of trans people, you'll start thinking you're trans. And there was like this study that TERFs and transphobes would cite that suggested this was a thing. But as it turned out, not only was the study not peer reviewed or backed up in a substantial way, but it was a survey, not a study. It was hosted on a notorious TERF website, and it surveyed the parents of trans children rather than the trans kids themselves. So, yeah, that like if it's something like that and you have like blatant evidence like that to suggest the data isn't valid, sure. Okay, but if it's just no, academia is too left-leaning, then you're just being
Yeah,
anti-intellectual.
yeah, you fucking hit. No, just like academia as a whole has been corrupted by the left.
Yeah, I'm
I
sorry, the
legit
correct
saw
opinion has a left-leaning bias.
did I you might have seen this the tweet that goes, I'm not sure it was posted, it was on one of like the accidentally left places, where someone's just going, funny how the science always seems to agree with the leftist narrative. And you go,
Funny.
that's strange. Maybe there's a conspiracy by science.
Yeah, to push the liberal, the coastal elite liberal narrative, you know? Yeah, it's pretty annoying, and it's a lot of what I have to deal with, you know? Like I always get it with Blair White fans, ironically enough. True Scum are like the quickest people to deny any data I show, claiming that trans people are valid, because that data also comes with the extra implication that also, yeah, by the way, non-binary people are valid too, and they can't accept that. So they actually, unironically, through like inadvertently end up denying the validity of their own identity by trying to argue against, poorly, but still, against every study that validates their identity because it also validates the identity of non-binary people, and they don't want that because apparently non-binary people make trans people, like binary trans people, look bad, and they don't want them to be part of their community.
Oh yeah, it's just the people who only care about optics and are throwing away the people they consider to be bad optics. It's shitty behavior.
Yeah. Oh wait, a Nazi in YouTube chat wants to debate. We'll debate after I finish talking to Exci. We have a guest here, okay? Being polite. Um, okay, yeah. Thank you for that donation, Man Ray 23. We'll move on to more. Zonia, thank you for the $11. Says here's to your 2K. Thank you. I should get that 2K check now. Fuck. I clicked
What?
something when I blinked, and I accidentally deleted all of my donations from my feed.
Ouch.
Wait, unless I click on show/hide donation. Uh, uh, oh wait, view all donations. Will this do it? I think this will do it. No, this is going back 3 months ago. Will this actually take me to the? Yeah. Well, that kind of fucking sucks. Ooh, Control Z. Maybe Control Z will work. Nope. Yeah, I can't. There's no way to get them back, guys. I blinked and I clicked an X and it made them all go away. I clicked something and it made them all go away. I'm gonna try to see if I can get them on Streamlabs. Let's see. Yeah, seems like I got all of them. I have 4 here, so we'll have to go off of this. Tabigail, thank you for the $5. Said, hey, I wanted to get your take on this because I think it's a really important issue not enough people are talking about. Are trees real, or are they fake roots built for the surveillance birds? Or fake roosts built for the surveillance birds. What do you think of that, JX? Do you think the trees are real, or are they just like little fucking charging stations for the drones that the government tells us are birds to watch us from?
I think that like the first few trees were real. I think that like there are probably maybe uh 5, 10,000 real trees in the world still, but I think most of them are just piggybacking on the fact that there are real trees.
Hmm.
I think they're trenders. I think they're hiding uh like yeah they're hiding on the back of the existing trees that people won't notice uh this
That's
new
true.
shit that's coming.
That's true. I don't believe in trees personally. I think they're a lie. You see, that's why I moved out to the desert because there are no trees here in Palm Springs, really, other than palm trees and the occasional oak tree, maybe. But there's a lot less trees out here, so I feel like there's less charging stations for the fucking birds in quotes to charge on, so they can surveil me and look through my window while I'm doing things on the computer.
I mean,
Yeah.
have you seen the Incredibles?
I have seen The Incredibles, yeah.
There's a pretty clear bird truth message in that film.
Oh, absolutely. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. I don't know if they were.
That's
I
the
think
that's
they might have
the
hit their
joke
power
about.
level a little bit with the trees, but with the birds, absolutely. The
Yeah.
message was quite clear. It was a very good movie. Very strong nuanced take on this issue. Okay. Puffle Cakes, thank you for the $5 donation. Said, hey, how about the Bolivian election though? Dab. Dab on the fucking haters. Have you heard about what happened in Bolivia these last couple days?
No, but I keep seeing people say the word CIA.
Yeah, so you might be aware we have a segment of our government in the U.S. called the CIA, and the CIA is
Yeah.
quite known for instigate or through the CIA has been used as an apparatus through the U.S. government to manipulate other countries, generally in South America, in order to set up coups and put certain figures in power that are more beneficial to U.S. interests. And that's kind of what they're known for. And most of the time, it's because they are kind of developing socialism or workers' democracy, or there's unionizing happening. And so the CIA will usually go down there and put a stop to it. Um, like this isn't like a conspiracy thing either. Like you learn about this in American history, like literally, banana republics. I think Salmonella did a video on it that was called Banana Republics. If you want to learn a bit about it, it's pretty funny, and you actually learn a surprising amount from it. Um, but yeah, what happened with Bolivia was Bolivia used to be sort of this really racially diverse country, and it was really cool, super nice, awesome. And there were like a lot of native people there that lived there, but then like white Spaniards came eventually, and they sort of started colonizing the place, and the native Bolivians became second class citizens there, and it was really bad for like a few hundred years. And then about a decade ago, Evo Morales, who was a native Bolivian, ended up running for election. And Evo Morales was a socialist, extremely progressive, ran on a platform of bringing like more rights and equality to the natives who had been disenfranchised for hundreds of years in the country. Just generally progressive ideas from socialism to like women's rights, like all those things, gay rights, all that stuff. And Evo Morales got elected. And I believe in Bolivia they had a 2-term limit. And what ended up happening was, after 2 terms, which, by the way, Evo won in a landslide both times. Evo was unbelievably popular. He ended up pushing, and did it successfully, for a ratification of the country's constitution that would allow for additional term limits if that person is elected. It basically gives them the ability to get reelected as long as the people decide to keep them in power. But there's still term limits. Like, you can't just stay in power after you get elected. You just get another chance after another 4 years. So
Right.
they ended up amending the Bolivian constitution and adding new term limits. And then, sort of through a little bit of a loophole, Evo Morales was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I think let's be honest here. This kind of resets my previous term limits. New constitution, new everything. Let's start it all over again. I've got like 3 or 4 terms that I could possibly get elected for now. But that's just as long as the people elect me." So that's what he did. And the people, him being extremely popular and being a champion of human rights and just like amazing, ended up getting elected again. Now, the morality of gaming the system to gain more terms is maybe questionable, but I feel like in this case particularly, the people overwhelmingly voted for him. He won in a landslide like every goddamn time, and he literally was pushing Bolivia into the future with all sorts of he was a champion of human rights. So basically, what ended up happening here was another election came around. The first election after the ratification of the new constitution. And so what ended up happening was, I forget what it was called. Hey chat, what was the name of the organization that was looking over the Bolivian election when the coup happened? Oh yeah, Canada doesn't even have term limits, so it's nothing too crazy. Chat, does anyone remember what the name of it? The OAS. So basically, the OAS was looking over the election, and they noticed that there was like a blackout in polling, and this is actually pretty common there apparently because it happened again recently, and it's happened in the past where basically there's a point where like exit polls stop coming in, and there's sort of like a blackout in news for like a couple hours, and then they pick back up on it and they get more data, and things look very different now because like you don't really see like a steady line going up showing how the polling is going. Blackout happens, and then you just kind of skip for a while, and then boom, whoever ends up winning fucking shoots up, and it almost looks like there's some finicky stuff happening there, but it's actually pretty normal, just because it's common for there to be sort of data blackouts during the counting of ballots in a lot of countries, particularly like Bolivia. Yeah, it's just responsible reporting. It's how
So
it
much
works.
of this stuff just sounds fucking sketchy. Like that's you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does, but this is like pretty
It's like
normal. So what ended up happening was the AOS ended up saying, this is suspicious, which sure it is. And so what they basically did was the Bolivian military marched up to the Capitol building with tanks and guns, forced Evo Morales, after winning in a landslide, once again, because he's extremely popular, to step down from his position, and they were going to probably imprison him or kill him, because they suspected him of like treason or whatever. But instead, he managed to get away and flee the country after being threatened by the military. And then after that, Um, uh, After that, a bunch of people that were supporters of Evo Morales. So basically, they ended up putting in a temporary president in his place called something Anyez. What was her name? Does anyone know the name uh, uh, of the lady that took his place? It was like something Anyez. Anyway, the important part is she was a fascist. Yeah, Janine Anyez. She was a fascist who who said this quote, the natives are devil worshipping like degenerates who live up in the hills and the mountains, something along those lines. Like just outright Janine Anyez, yeah, just like outright full on fascistic ideas. And she took power, and then shortly after, the white, more conservative or fascistic leaning people in Bolivia started lynching natives. In fact, there was a mayor in one city that was a supporter of Evo Morales, who was and she was native, was pulled out of her building and dragged through the street by her hair and painted and beaten and nearly killed in the street by fascistic supporters of the new president who had essentially been put in place through a coup. And that's how things have been for about a year. Fascists ruling everything in Bolivia. Supporters of the party that the socialist party that Morales was a part of, getting beaten and nearly murdered in the streets. And at the same time, there's been a shit ton of protests. The natives, the majority of the population who supported Morales, the vast majority have been protesting and rioting for a year straight. So finally, even though Evo Morales has had to live in Argentina as a refugee because he's being hunted down. Oh yeah, Patricia Arce was the name of the mayor that got dragged to the street by her hair painted and beaten. Um, it was honestly like that scene in Game of Thrones where Cersei has to walk down the street naked with the bell, shame, shame. It was like that, only worse actually. Um, they just did a new election because Anyez was only supposed to be in place temporarily. They did a new election, and the Socialist Party, which is being run, and the presidential nominee was one of Evo Morales' successors, won by a massive landslide, over 50%. As a matter of fact, the Nationalist Fascist Party, that was the second runner-up that they were competing with, there's literally a video of him crying when he saw the news that his party lost, because fascists fall apart when they lose. It's how they are. And so yeah, Evo Morales will likely be free to return to Bolivia. His party is back in power again with over 50% of the vote. The fascists were the ones in power when the election happened, so there is no way anyone can claim voter fraud, considering there were no socialists in power in order to orchestrate it. And yeah, things are going good. Socialists won. It's super cool. And the CIA is pissing and shitting and cumming themselves right now out of pure baby rage. So yeah,
Yeah, that all sounds like a pretty based story, apart from the lynching,
the lynching
which are
wasn't
not
good.
based.
But that lady,
But
by the way, Arce, the lady who got dragged to the street, is now a senator. She got promoted.
dope.
Yeah. So
That sounds like that sounds like the film rights for that need to be well, film rights are a fucking flawed concept, but you know what I mean. That needs to be told as a story a lot. It sounds pretty cool.
it would be a nice story to tell. The problem is, I don't know if you're aware of this, in the US, I have so many like crazy fucking factoids. In the US, if you want to have like any type of military equipment um, for your movie, you have to have the US military screen your movie and make sure that there is no like anti-war, anti-US military messages in the movie, and they'll provide you with like free. They'll even fund you, and they'll even provide you with free
Captain Marvel
uh,
did this.
yeah, Captain Marvel did it. Yep. Yeah, you're aware of it. And the same goes just generally. Like if you make a movie that features the U.S. military, if there's like a negative message about it, it's going to be highly suppressed and possibly even like viewed as like anti-American, and I think you can actually get in trouble for it. But yeah, if you promote the military,
That
you'll get funded.
sounds kind of fashy.
No, it is. Yeah, no. Even Trump has said that he wants to ban any teachings in school that criticize America, and quote teach American exceptionalism. So basically, ban the teaching of things like the internment camps that we did to the Japanese citizens of America during World War II, or like the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki as being anything remotely negative. Basically, any human rights violations and horrible things America has done in the past would be banned from being taught in schools, and we would be taught only American exceptionalism, is what Donald Trump has recently proposed.
That doesn't
Oh, wait, you cut out.
that doesn't pass the vibe check.
That does not pass the vibe check whatsoever, but, not surprising from Trump at this point.
I mean, having lived in Germany, you kind of like they fucking teach that, they fucking teach you about the Nazis. Like at a point where you're in Germany, right? Can't really avoid, and then nothing happened for 10 years. You can't teach that.
Everyone was on vacation.
Everyone went abroad for a while. We don't really know what happened.
Yeah. I think there was like a Family Guy joke about that, if I remember correctly. But yeah. Yeah, Germany takes it pretty seriously.
Like the misconception that certainly exists in the UK is that talking about the war is going to be a massive taboo in Germany. It's not. It's widely accepted. It's the thing that happened. It's the big oops moment.
They did an oopsie.
It's the cringe teenage years that they fully acknowledge and celebrate having moving past, while understanding the factors that led to it in the first place. Like, yeah, they're very open to discussing the war in Germany, which is why when coming back to the UK, see so much comedy, which is about someone accidentally mentions the war around a German, and it's like, oh my god, how awkward. Watching that now with that perspective, you realize, yeah, they wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, no. Like they were very serious in Germany about saying, "Yeah, we did real bad. That was not good. That was very, very bad." Yeah, no, I actually appreciate that a lot, but America is not like that. I was taught in school in Florida that unironically that the Civil War was about states' rights. And they said it was not they explicitly said it was not about slavery. And if they asked the question, what was the Civil War about on like a test, if you answered anything relating to slavery, you would get you would get the question wrong, even if it was the correct answer that you put in, that it was over slavery, which it was. You would lose points in the test, and you could fail.
That's also pretty cringe.
Yep, that's America though. Oh god, I'm so glad I'm in California now. Maybe one day I'll move to Canada. That would be nice. Okay, let's move on to some more Tonos, because we stayed on that one for a while. I told the whole story of the last year for Bolivia. Oh god, damn. It's a good time talking to you though. It's been very fun. Let's see. Oh yeah, here. Je voulais Grace, I believe is how it's pronounced. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Said, how would he feel about the German system weekend for voting plus letters, parliament set up proportional to party votes? I don't know nothing about the German system. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't know anything about it either. I left Germany before I was old enough to worry about that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know about the German voting system. I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate the donation anyway, but I don't know anything about it either, so I don't know. Larry Banks, thank you for the $1, said, whenever I look into EFAP's view on politics, at times it doesn't seem reactionary, as they wanted people like Sargon and ER to be associated with RAG supporting J.K. Rowling videos on TERFs and on the whole SJWs running media like other reactionaries. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I generally think that like EFAP, and correct me if I'm wrong, generally it seems like EFAP has a bit of like a sort of like anti-SJW-ish, more like liberal leaning for me, but
yeah, a lot of the guests do really fit that profile, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's like too hardcore reactionary, but it's like, not leftist by any means.
Well, that's the thing. It was set up with the intention of being politically neutral, which means a lot of, and then you get on some some people who lean to the right, and then people who lean to the left avoid it. And so it sort of it's hard to get left-leaning guests on there. Is the impression.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't want them. They do, but they don't show up very much.
Yeah, I think I understand that. I mean, I think having like a neutral playing field is good, but I don't know. It seems like you sort of see it like when they have someone on who's like fun. It's kind of like Joe Rogan, you know, like when Joe Rogan has someone on who's just sort of like a just a fucking non-political thing. You never really notice, but when he brings on somebody who starts talking about like the deep state and like transgenderism being bad or whatever, then you realize it and you're like, oh, Joe Rogan. You know, it's kind of like that, but with EFAP, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the vibe I get. Um, it's like, oh, the fucking end of my sentence has left me. Help. Yeah, I'm not sure what I was gonna say there.
Well, to be fair, I'm having a hard time speaking as well because I'm still tired. I woke up like an hour before we started. I've had nothing but 2 cups of coffee to drink today, so I'm running on caffeine basically.
Oh, and
Um,
I'm gonna be going to bed like pretty soon after this.
Probably me too. Or I'll play some video games and then I'll go to bed. Um, Table Manners 16, thank you for the tier 1 subset. He's right on Germany. I'm curious what his current view is on the Brexit mood and how COVID affected that. Oh yeah, I don't even know shit about Brexit. What's going on with that?
So Brexit, as far as I'm aware, like we're now, and for a while, we were still subject to all of the European Union's laws and had to contribute it to it, but didn't have a say as to what went on in it. That was like
Hmm.
the first stage of our leaving, which, oh, great negotiating a deal there. Um, Basically, you will get this from anyone in the UK, I think, who has any stance on Brexit. It's so fucking over. It's all the media spoke about. It's all you would get on the news for so fucking long that like basically everyone lost the ability to care about it.
Hmm.
Um, it was like, I mean, for a while there were these claims made about it that were demonstrably false about the benefits that we would get as a nation if we left the European Union, which were later demonstrated false, like the amount of money that we would save that we could then spend on our own country.
Mhm.
There were huge false claims made about that. Um, as far as I am aware, it's not a good idea, but it's like, you know, I'm so fucking burnt out on Brexit, just like the whole UK is.
Yeah, it's weird because didn't Brexit happen or like begin to happen in 2016?
Brexit, I think, finished recently, and yeah, it started in like 2016
Yeah, it feels like 2016 was like it was like the real
summer.
life equivalent of Thanos snapping his fingers, you know? Shit ton of celebrities died. Trump got elected. Brexit was voted on and was happening, though it got pushed back quite a bit. It was still, that was when the nail was put into the coffin for it to happen. Um, it was a crazy fucking year. And now we're 4 years later and we're experiencing 2016 too, and this is like the Avengers Endgame of years now. That was Infinity War. This is Endgame now. You know, we're doing it all over again. I mean, Brexit's happened. There may be no going back from that unless like what would it be, the Labour Party? Unless like the Labour Party had like an overwhelming majority of power, they could probably figure something out. I'm not sure.
The
But yeah.
fix there is Scottish independence and then rejoining the EU with Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that a lot of people seem to want that here.
Yeah. Do the Irish want independence too? I feel like they probably do. I feel like everybody wants independence from the UK.
There's a lot of there's a lot of memes about not so like there are like as far as I'm aware, I know much more about the attitude in Scotland, which there is a huge like number of people who want independence here. Not so strong on what the other, uh countries want, but I do see a lot of fucking memes about, hey, if we all want independence, why don't we just kick England out and form our own union?
Yeah.
Which Those are fun memes. Yeah,
That's
I'm
actually
not entirely confident what's wanted in other places.
I just realized like England basically just sort of like reached out with its like fucking grubby fingers and grabbed Ireland and Scotland and was like, "You're leaving the EU with me." You know, just
Pretty
like
much,
pulling them
actually.
away.
Um, I think I've seen. I remember seeing sources that say the majority of Scottish people voted against Brexit.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like you don't. It's so crazy, like the effects that are still around from British imperialism. Yeah, it's really crazy. I really don't know much all that much about it, but it is interesting. I think I'm really excited for the American election to be over and hopefully have Biden in place so I can stick to like criticizing Biden, which is not too hard. Like Biden's not going to be like Trump where there's constantly something to talk about. I'll actually have more time outside of shitting on Biden's administration, which obviously we're going to do. We're leftists. Biden's not our fucking king. So I can learn more about other like world politics, like politics in the UK, in Germany, and in Europe, just in general, and start giving my thoughts and talking about like politics abroad. You know?
Yeah. That I mean, it's I guess it's good to expand, right?
Yeah,
Um, well, that's what England.
that is what England does. Yeah. Um. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You cut out just a tiny bit. It's weird. Like at the end of a sentence, if you cut out, I'm not 100% sure if it comes back. Um. Okay, cool. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
Alrighty, we got through all the
Probably not
donations.
right away.
Oh, sorry, what?
Oh, sorry, that's my doorbell. I guess I'll have to wrap this up fast. Actually, I'll just mute myself for a sec.
Okay, I got you. I feel like this is a fun conversation, chat. I'm having a good time. I'm tired as fuck though. I should have gotten more sleep. Should have gotten more sleep. What? Wait, why? Chat. Pokimane played with AOC last night and said hit 6 million followers on Twitch last night. Unreal, thank you. And Augie is like, no way. Why why do you guys hate Pokimane so much? Like, guys, Augie, Boblax, can you just relax, okay? Pokimane is like one of the least problematic online figures in the fucking world. Like she's literally like meticulous in her business to make sure that literally that she has little to no controversy, and because of that she has very little controversy. Like just chill. I like, come on. That AOC stream was fun. I tried to watch it last night, but Lonnie wouldn't let me. She turned it off on the TV and wanted to watch something else. Wouldn't let me watch it. I wanted to watch the AOC Among Us stream and she wouldn't let me. They're jealous because she's cute and popular. Yeah, absolutely. They just hate women. Well, I don't think they hate women. I think it's like a subconscious kind of like thing. We watched like an hour of it. We watched a little bit of it, but you know. Hey, Berman. Um, yeah, JXC is doing something. Someone came to the door. Hopefully they don't have like hopefully they don't have like the UK government coming after them for speaking out against capitalism. Ooh, that'd be scary. The YouTube chud's name is Dead Renzu Kunchu. He's been going on about Jews and commies for a while. Jesus Christ, it sounds. What's this link? Yes. Fuck Joe Biden, all my homies vote or fuck Joe Biden, all my homies vote for Joe Biden. I don't think that's how it goes, but this is a pretty good meme here. That's me, that's Contra, the Queen. We've got some more news. We got Hassan, the Surfs TV, and Joe Biden stand
Hey,
2020 here. Hey, what's up? I was just talking to chat. Don't worry about any of that.
Yeah,
Um,
fuck, that was a delivery. Fucking there's a brilliant culture here where just people like um no other country I've been in has such a culture of just like people who are in the service industry acting like human beings. Um, guy fucking chatting to me just generally like you wouldn't get anyone. Actually, I've got the perfect story to demonstrate this. A bus driver in Scotland called me a cunt once, just casually. Like it wasn't an insult. It was just oh, I was he oh, fuck, I was going I was going to the airport and the bus route to the airport had changed and I didn't know that. So obviously I had a flight to catch. It was kind of an emergency. So the next bus that stops by, I just poked my head in the door. Um, and the bus driver there, he says he gives me the information I need and tells me where I can actually get a bus to the airport. And he tells me that his route goes to a stop where I can get a bus to the airport. So I'm like, oh, all right. So I get it out of my wallet, and he's just like, he says, "Put your wallet away, you daft cunt." It's only a couple of stops, which is just like I feel like you wouldn't get that anywhere else. Tangent, but important.
I love that cunt is like fine in the UK and in Australia and New Zealand and stuff like that. Like in America, cunt is like a serious fucking word. Like if you call,
Oh
especially if
yeah,
you call a woman a cunt out in public, like that is like okay, you've fucking dropped fucking like that is antagonistic as fuck. You might get into a fight. But in the UK and stuff like that, that shit's just oh, cookies just came out of the oven. Holy shit, thank you, Bonnie. But like in the UK, that's like saying like bro, or maybe not exactly bro, but um, like if you say to your friend, "Come on, you motherfucker," it's kind of like that, you know, but like in a really
yeah,
friendly
yeah.
way.
It's that way.
Yeah,
Like it can still be used as an insult here, and it like you hear it, but it's sort of like in context you understand the way it's being used.
yeah, yeah, and that seems pretty unique to the UK, and for some reason every country where people have the I don't know what kind like the English like the British-esque accent, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Like the non I don't know the differences, but there are like clear categories of native English speaking accent, and all
Yeah.
of one of them uses can't casually.
Yeah. Like I think Canada and the US mostly have the same accent and cunt is bad there. But like England, Scotland and Ireland, it's fine. Australia and New Zealand, it's fine. Like for like white people in South Africa, they say it too because they're mostly like from British descent. Um, yeah, it's. I wonder why that never came over here. Why
I
can't I
think
say yeah?
I think the closest comparison for a word that drastically changes how offensive it is depending on the in the oh what's the word I'm blank not society not culture
Like the context?
not context like oh what is the we had like it was said like 30 seconds ago this word that I'm now just it's gone from my brain um
Um.
like a society but smaller
Oh, community.
community yeah
Oh yeah.
um depending on the community you say it in it drastically changes what it means and how offensive it is. I mean like the direct comparison is the N word, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like here we say cunt very casually and you don't get that in other well you do get that in other places but you don't get that in the US or Canada.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, apparently the N word is nowhere near as crazy in like in Europe. Like the like you don't get like crazy bad looks for saying that in other countries, but if you say the N word in America, everyone's gonna be like
Oh, I think
just
it's I
stare you
mean you
down.
definitely you would definitely get that in the UK.
In
um
the UK, probably, but like most other countries, not quite as much as in America.
I mean I guess but then you've got most of them aren't uh native English.
Yeah, but still, like, I like, I think it's more of like a cultural thing because, like, from what my understanding, like the UK doesn't quite have the Germany for a long time had a chocolate foam snack called the N-word kiss. Yeah, like shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's like when it's not your first language that you speak, you don't grow up with the
yeah.
taboo around saying it, which is, you don't grow up with the emotional response to it. You just grow up with like the sort of factual knowledge of what it is.
So it doesn't
Like,
feel as crazy to say it, you know? You just kind of
yeah,
heard
like
about it.
if I heard like some word from whatever fucking language and was told, oh yeah, this carries like the equivalent power of the N word in this language for whatever group of people, I probably wouldn't have the same emotional response if I said it,
Hmm.
though I factually know that it would be just as bad a thing to say.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of get that too. Like if someone said, "Here is a word in Japanese," it is the Japanese equivalent of the N word. I'd be like, "Oh, if I said it right now, nobody would give a single fuck." The
Yeah,
Spanish word for black is the N word.
that's a
Not
different N word.
exactly.
That's a
Not
that's a different N
exactly.
word.
Yeah. It's like the Spanish word for black is negro and negra. So not exactly. Uh yeah, no, no, no. There's not a hard ER at the end of the Spanish word for black. Um yeah, no, sorry. No, it's not how it works. It's not the N word. Somebody tried. It's not it's negra or negro. I think the A is like in a context of like feminine. I'm not sure.
I
Um,
think there's a word in Korean that sounds a lot more like the N word that people have actually got in trouble for saying in the West. Um,
yeah.
I'm not. You look that up. I you know
Oh, I'll have to look that up. Hold on. Korean
I wasn't
N
like
word.
instructing you.
I'm
I
looking
wasn't
it
like
up.
demanding that you look it up right now, but I was just saying like if you want to know for sure, look it up.
Um,
Yeah, a lot of the stuff I realize I'm saying in the stream is stuff that I vaguely heard one time, but don't actually have sources on. So I just keep having to fucking go, I don't actually know that for sure. And it's like, I've just realized how much I'm doing it and it bugged me.
I know real Dango Bango, but it was pronounced differently than the Spanish pronunciation. God, my chat is so fucking they're ringing right now because I can speak Spanish. A shame. I can't find that, but I can say fuck, what was I gonna talk about before? It was so fucking funny. Um oh shit. Oh, I was gonna say it before. Oh no, 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 what was it? Damn, I can't remember. It was a really funny joke, but I was looking up the other thing. Did someone in chat remind me of it? I think someone in chat is the one that reminded me. Um, no, I can't remember. Um, yeah, I
This
don't
is
know.
such a bad.
We've devolved this conversation to the point of talking about the use of the N word. That's where we are at right now.
I feel like
Th-
every political discussion ends up there if you have it for long enough.
That's true though, because everything does. It actually, believe it or not, the N word is Alden's number. I know I had to announce it to all of you in chat. You probably have no idea what the fuck that is, do you?
No.
Listen, Alden's number is a very complicated philosophical question or mystery, and it takes it's like a personal, like spiritual journey to try to find out the the meaning of Alden's number. Um, I'm not doing the whole name. I'm sorry. Basically, a buddy of mine who also does streaming like I do, but he is much larger, named Vosh, was debating a Nazi about race realism once, and he could like kind of get an idea that the Nazi had no idea what he was talking about and was just making shit up. So Vosh asked, "Are you familiar with Alden's number?" And the guy said, "Yeah, of course." And then Vosh said, "I just made that up. It's not real." and basically blew the guy the fuck out because it became obvious the dude was just pretending like he knew what he was talking about. And so Alden's number has become a meme, and it's sort of like blown up to like, what is Alden's number though? Even though it was
That's
just sort of like a
fantastic.
yeah. So we've started putting Alden as like a prefix to a bunch of terms, or Aldens to a prefix, like Alden's gas, Alden's N word, Alden's uh fucking gas, shit like that. It's really really funny. It's a good debate tactic. Just ask if they know what Alden's number is if it seems like they're making shit up.
But now they can say yes, and it can be true because it's an established meme.
It's not established outside of like me and Vosh's communities very much though.
That's fair.
So for now, it's niche enough that you can use it on most people if they aren't familiar with Alden's theory. Alden's gas is real. Wait, is it actually? No, don't. Is it? It's copium, isn't it? It's gonna be copium when I look it up. It's gonna be copium. Okay, first thing that comes up is fucking okay. Oh, that is not. Oh.
Is it
Oh.
bad? Is it
Look
bad?
up look up Alden's gas and click the first link.
I'm gonna do it. No, that's maps. I don't want to search maps. The last thing I googled was Zimbabwe. Why did I Google Zimbabwe?
It's a neat country. I just heard my girlfriend just did it. I just heard her reaction.
It is. It's copium.
It's copium.
Yeah, I've got copium.
Are you? It's ALDEN and then like comma S. Alden's gas is.
I've got EIN, and it came up with a result spelled IN.
Oh no, you want to look
Um,
up. Uh. Oh, it's a gas company. Oh, it's an okay. It's on a website called or on Reddit called OK Buddy Vouch. I can't show it on stream. I refuse to. But if you want to look it up
yeah, I
yourself,
I see the thing. I was like, I was wondering, is this the right thing? And then you said I can't show it on stream. I was like, oh, okay, it is good.
that's kind of like copium if that's what you're into. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm gonna close that now. I don't like Vosh's community anymore. I'm gone now. I'm never coming back. Oh god. Why? Why do we allow this? Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
I
Um
mean, like, you can't exist on the internet without being desensitized to basically all of.
No, it's just it's just when it hits you off guard, okay? Like I can watch One Man, One Jar right now. I can watch a man just squat down on a mason jar, shove it up his asshole, and squeeze that shit until the glass breaks and he starts picking bloody shards of glass out of his rectum. All right, I can do that if I'm mentally prepared for it. But if I'm just chilling and I'm ready to and I'm just like, just having, just memeing around and I click on something and I see that, I'm not going to be happy. That's why Goatsy was so popular, because you just see a funny little link and you click on it and then boom, spread open asshole, just being pried open, that's really
Like,
what gets you.
I couldn't deal with one guy, one job personally, but like that's I've been desensitized to most of the internet's tricks though. I've seen
Yeah.
Two Girls One Cup and Eel Soup. Eel Soup is a fun one. Most people haven't heard of it. That's why it's fun. You get to
Really?
explain to them what it is,
I
and
would
then
I
feel
would
bad.
appreciate if you did that right now.
Oh, good. Eel Soup is a video of a woman gaping, uh, like I think her vagina. It's either a vagina or ass.
The
Like,
fact you can't tell adds to the experience.
well, it's been so long since I've seen it, since because I didn't want to seek it out again. That like it wasn't the part that stuck out in my memory. But it was there was a funnel being stuck into it, and then poured through that funnel was like water filled with wriggling baby eels. And that she just kept that in there for a while, just gaped with all of those eels. It's you're like, oh, fun,
It actually sounds kind of
thanks.
hot, no lie. Hey Lonnie, you want to try something?
I mean, there's gonna be one person watching who's like, I'm just gonna
Rapidly Googling,
write this down
rapidly
for later.
typing.
Like, I wonder what I do. I wonder what the number of people is before you can that you have to have like watching something before you can describe a fetish, and it's statistically likely that at least one person watching will have it.
Oh, this video will probably get like 10,000 views in less than a week, so probably is a fair amount. Wait, Vermin says that they've seen sand being poured into a gaped open asshole. That's insane.
Ew.
That is that sounds really painful. How do you ever like you'd have to get like an enema to get it all out, you know?
Like, yeah, but then it would get all like moist and clumpy.
Yeah, no, that fucking sucks. Or like,
Just
you know
don't.
what? Wait, I figured out what Alden's number is. It's the amount of eels that a woman can fit in her fucking large intestine.
I mean, you can go with that.
Oh god, what does this conversation devolve to? This is guys, this is why you don't do political talks while you're fucking tired. Oh god. Okay, we've got 2 more donations to read and we're going to wrap things up cuz this is going too far. I'm going to get people are going to get a lot of goddamn clips off of this stream for the Xander Hall out of context Twitter account. Oh god. Um We'll finish it off with the real Dango Bangle. It says pomegranate, 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 Yamero, pomegranate. In case you don't know, pomegranate's the safe word in my chat. If you really, really need me to stop showing something really cringy or disgusting, then pomegranate is the word that you say.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's. I
Yeah.
mean, like, to be fair, I'm fully desensitized to this. I literally have a show where I go over often this kind of shit. I've never shown eel soup. We have done like Five Nights at Freddy's farting fan porn. So I'm used to this. This is my ballpark, I'm ashamed to say.
You know, I respect it. I will never not respect it, if we're being honest. Ask if they know rotten. What is rotten?
I don't know.
I guess not. I don't know what
It's
rotten
got to
is.
be a shock site. Like, it's as a shock site name. It's like way too vague to Google as well. Like, you're not going to find a specific shock site if you Google rotten.
Rotten.com. Alright, I'm gonna. Okay,
You're
I'm gonna
brave.
very. Not showing it
It
on.
doesn't sound like it's going to be good with a name like that.
Gonna see. Taking a long time to load. Anything? Nope, taking too long to load. Not doing it. It took too long to load. All I had was a black screen.
Did I just hear like a
I'm
pain
here. Yeah,
in the background?
Lonnie googled it. She's screaming in the other room, I think.
Oh,
What is it? What is it, babe?
I'm curious too.
I am in negative cash, Xander Hall, because of you. Do you need a refund? Real Dango Bangle. Do you need? Okay, good. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you for the $5. Said stop Yamaru pomegranate. Okay, we'll wrap things up then. All right. For the sake of my chat, who is absolutely dying right now because where this discussion has gone, as enjoyable as it has been for me, undoubtedly. We'll start to
I
wrap
often
things.
devolve conversations like that. It's a gift.
I like that. That's how you know that you found someone worthy of being friends with. If you can talk for we're at 2 hours and 30 minutes right now. If you can talk for 2 hours and 30 minutes and start really professional talking about politics and very well put together, and then 2.5 hours later be talking about eels being like dumped inside of women's gaping assholes, then you found somebody you can get along with. That's what I like to say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Alrighty. Was there anything else you want to go over before we wrap things up?
No, I don't think so.
Alrighty. Well, I really appreciate you coming on today, and if you want to hang out in the community anymore, you can join my Discord. I'll give you like a content creator role in there, and you can chill and hang out. It's a good time. There's also my website if you want to come in here, because I get a ton of pretty big people that come into my website. Do you know who Seanhead is?
Yes.
Yeah, Sean had comes into my website chat from time to time. I've had Anthony Fantano come into my YouTube chat, so sometimes I get some pretty big names in the chat. It's a good time. Um, just overall, I got all those things. Also, why don't you shout yourself out? Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Oh, they disconnected. Oh, no, no, no. All right. Oh, are you good?
Yeah. I mean, what were the two things that have triggered a full-on disconnection? The N-word and shoe on head.
That's true. Yeah, the CIA got you. What is the British
Yeah.
equivalent of the CIA?
MI6.
Yeah, MI6. Yeah, MI6 gotcha. Oof, me seeks. Yeah. Sorry. Do you want to shut yourself out?
Sure. I hate me. That's it. I did it.
I think you cut
My
out.
channel, my channel name is. I just said I make YouTube videos. They're about media, not politics. Like, yeah, I'm really tired. Uh, if you didn't like The Rise of Skywalker, you probably will find a home in my channel. If you didn't like name generic bad blockbuster, I talk about a lot of those. I also make response videos occasionally. Uh, and if you want, actually, I have to make some political content about a wonderful guy called No Bullshit, who I'm sure you're all familiar with. I had a talk with him and made a video about it. It was super fun. He lied about me explicitly, so
I
I
watched that
felt the need
video.
to debunk those. Yeah, I felt the need to debunk those. So if that's
I
something you want to,
I really enjoyed those videos. They're really good. I really want to talk with No Bullshit. I know he's completely irrelevant now. His channel's dying. He's losing as many subs per month as I'm gaining. And he's getting less views than me on his channel, despite having like several times my sub count. Um, I would just love to be able to subject myself to the immovable brick wall that is No Bullshit.
the most fun part about that is that on Twitter he kept going on at me about how much more famous than me he is.
It's like 8
When
views
he
per
pulls in like,
video.
yeah, exactly. Um, and like he would like cite his total view count overall of all time and his sub count. And I'm like, there are many more things. But yeah,
It's
that's hmm?
It's funny because your previous video on No Bullshit, how No Bullshit fails to make points, has about half of his entire, like, one video alone has about half of an entire month's worth of views for No Bullshit, and your video 5-minute crafts that make the worst life hacks of all time one from 2 months ago, that video alone is 3 times his entire monthly viewership. So yeah, not surprising take from No
I mean,
Bullshit, as
in
stupid as he is.
fairness, that is my most successful video of all time. But
But
that's the best of videos ever done for me.
you
And that's
regularly
what
pull over 100,000 views.
I mean. Yeah, that's if I feel like if a video hasn't pulled 100,000 views, to the point where I'm like, oh, I guess I need to step up. That's that's my baseline. I
Yeah,
remember when it was. I remember when it was 100. I remember when it was 1,000. I remember when it was 10,000. It's how it be. It always feels good to realize. Oh, I measure like failure at a way higher standard than I used to now. That's fun.
I remember
But at
when
the
I
end of
first
the day,
started. Oh yeah, go on.
at the end of the day, views aren't what it's about. So long as I am paying the rent, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like, if I was able to just get like 10,000 views per video and just stick at that, I would be able to make enough to pay all my bills. That would be roughly 2K a month because I upload daily. That'd be about 2K a month for bills, which covers my rent, that covers my bills, and the rest through streaming. That'll cover anything else, and I'd be happy. Be able to pay the bills. I'd have enough reach that I can influence political change. I would be happy. But I actually noticed that I remember when I first started measuring success of a video as 1,000 views or more, and now it's 10,000. And most of the time, I end up hitting it within a week. sometimes they even get up to like 24,000, 30,000, 40,000. I've got a few that got over 100,000, but that's usually pretty rare. But who knows? As I get bigger, maybe that'll increase.
I mean, yeah, that's how it goes. I remember. I mean, like it is always. You remember the first video that goes like over 100,000, and then you realize that, oh, like when a video is really successful, like it goes over 100,000, and then like repeat for higher numbers. Essentially, is how it goes. I remember when it was 100. I remember thinking, oh, this video is doing well. It got 100 views.
Yeah. Oh, I have one video that has over 100,000 views, and it's how I fell down the alt-right pipeline and escaped, and it has 558,000. My second best has 88K. Interesting. Yep, that's about right. Yeah. Whew. Jeez, I'm working on it though. I'm gonna keep on working my ass off and growing, and you're definitely gonna continue growing. You make some good content, and you get really good viewership. Um,
Cheers.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll wrap everything up. Um, I'll stay in touch with you on Twitter if you ever want to come on and talk again about any particular subjects or just to chat. I'm down to have you on. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm down.
I might end up playing like Among Us or some other games in the future. So if you ever want to join in for that, I'll happily invite you.
100%. Only if AOC is there.
Only if AOC is. I forgot to ask you
Yeah.
about that, but I think we all know our opinions on that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Uh,
Yeah, no,
uh,
I'm definitely down.
Okay, cool. Well, with that said, everybody, this is Jay Exci. You can find them on YouTube. Makes really good content, and you should definitely give it a watch. Alrighty, is there anything else you want to say before you go?
No, I'm good. I mean, yeah, that's me.
Alrighty then. Have a good night, and hopefully a good sleep.
Cheers, man. You too.
Saw ya.
Bye.
Hog. That was a really fun conversation. I enjoy. It may not be the best for streams, but I love conversations that start out super professional and whatnot, and then I would say evolve, honestly, that like evolve into talking about crazy shit like two girls, one cup, one man, one jar, and women being gaped and having eels just put into her butthole, ass eels. You see, very very fun conversation. Um, I definitely plan on doing more chill combos like this in the future. My next one will probably be a bit more antagonistic. I think I'm going to have Calvin Gara on. I think I'm going to have Calvin Gara on next, or Shoe on Head. And sometime in the future, I'm going to work on getting ContraPoints on. I'll see what I can do about that. She follows me on Twitter and on Instagram, so it shouldn't be hard. And I've talked to her before in DMs very briefly a couple times, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, if you like this video, be sure to drop a sub, leave a like on the video, share it around. It helps a lot. I really do appreciate it. Seriously, support really helps. Also, guys, check this out. Oh, this is so cool. You guys want to see something really, really neat? Oh, you're gonna love this. This is so cool. Yeah, stop it. All right, look at this. Oh, look, join. There's a little button there called join. Look, you can click it, and it lets you become a subscriber, like you would on my website, but on YouTube. So if you're a YouTube person, even if you don't even watch the streams, it works on YouTube in comments too. You can subscribe with different tiers on YouTube, and it gives you like a little thing, and you appear at the top of the comment section. I'll see you first. You get access to exclusive posts and stuff like that, and it warms my heart. So even if I'm not streaming, you can become a member, and I would appreciate the fuck out of you. Anyway, thank you for the support, and love y'all. Xander Hall.